Hey guys, I've had a few complaints with my keyboard videos that I just ramble, but I am genuinely looking at these things at the same time you are. Now, in this case, I've got both of my K30s back, which are both kind of broken, even though I've had them repaired twice. The guy who just fixed this one, he kept me waiting for weeks, and when I got it back, it didn't work. I was just basically asking for the power socket, the micro USB socket, which is always broken on these things, to get repaired, and then all the other keys started breaking. This one has a bunch of keys that are not working. We'll test both of these keyboards because I want them both fixed, if that's even possible, because they're worth $750 each at the moment on eBay. For Americans, I think they're like $400. They're obsolete, but they are the best HTPC home theater personal computer keyboards for using on the sofa or in bed on the market. There are little ones like this, and there is an Artec, I can't remember, it's got a whole bunch of letters, HB something something. The HB 305 48. You can see that? It's a bit backwards, isn't it? Anyway, it works that I can drag myself small in the corner so we can lay out everything and see pretty much everything that's happening here. Alright, I've got Microsoft Word up in the corner so we can see what's happening with scrolling. I'm using the mouse at the moment because obviously I'm sitting at a desk. This is not where I would normally be sitting. I'd usually be sitting in my living room using the armchair so I can, you know, be comfortable. I've got the heater, so there's going to be a hum behind because it's pretty cold in winter. Got some sample text, which I think is from Cicero. Never read it, can't understand it, and hopefully you don't speak Latin, so it's not going to be distracting for you, because we're just going to try to see if these keyboards can type. That's bad. Alright, now for some reason OBS, which is the program I'm using to record this, is just jumped from one screen to another. Hopefully that won't be an ongoing problem. I'm just trying to make this as simple and as well laid out as possible so you can see everything at a glance, and I don't have to concentrate on my second monitor, which is running OBS. It'll just be recording everything I do in Word, and you can see everything that I'm doing on the desk here. So this Artec keyboard is what I've been using while I've been waiting for these other two, apart from all the other keyboards I've tried. The Artec took the longest to arrive. Let me just bring the lights down a bit. Alexa, turn off the light. Alexa, turn off the light. So that was the overhead light, and I'll use the Niwa control center to turn down these other ones. Except I've still got that thing happening. Maybe I'll turn this one off as well. Alright, so we're going to look at backlight for a second. All these keyboards I think are switched on. Okay, so I'm just going to move the trackpad. You can see that illuminates. Is that the maximum brightness for that one? And then this is the second one. I'll just bring up the brightness there. So that's the maximum brightness for that. So they're both K830s right there. And this one down here, because it's an Artec, and these ones are vastly superior, this one does not awaken to using the trackpad. I have to press a key on the keyboard, and that lights that up. This one obviously, this one has various colors, right? So I can cycle between those. Now, if you watch my other keyboard videos, you'll see I've had a lot of keyboards that I've reviewed. You should go back and watch those if you're looking at what to buy, except for the fact that I can tell you right now none of them are going to compete with the K830s, except this is Logitech K830. I assume you know what they are. They are the most highly regarded HTPC keyboards on the market, although they're not on the market anymore, so you have to choose something smaller. With mini keyboards like this one from which is a cheap Chinese company, it has a little scroll wheel here. I don't know if it's turned on or if it's running out of batteries. Oh, it is working. Okay, so if I scroll, I just move the mouse into a place that makes sense on Word. If I scroll there, the scroll works, but it's a clicky, non-continuous step scroll. So that's the scroll up and down. Of course, with all these keyboards, they understand gestures, so you can slide 2 fingers up and down. I'll just demonstrate that with the Logitech K830 at the top. That's jumping quite a lot per line, but I've zoomed in on Word to 270%, so we can expect a fair bit of fast scrolling going on there. And just with the RTech here, barely even responding. This is Bluetooth, and these 3 use a 2.4 gigahertz dongle. This one does not have that option. Even though Bluetooth is in the 2.4 to 2.41 gigahertz range. Oh no, what is it? 2.4 to 2.5. So that's 2,400 megahertz of zeros and ones being transmitted between the devices and the receiver, either a Bluetooth receiver or a dedicated 2.4 gigahertz dongle. From memory, I think it's 2,400 megahertz up to 2,490 megahertz or something like that. Okay, and in that bandwidth, it tries to find a clean signal, but often there is conflict if there are multiple things on the same channels, in both Bluetooth and in the dongle range. But it's such a small amount of data being sent from the keyboards that it's usually not interfering with anything ever. The same was with this Logitech mouse. It's using a 2.4 gigahertz dongle as well. There are unifying receivers for Logitech, which means that I could use both these keyboards and this mouse on one receiver, but I haven't set that up. You can do it through Logitech Options program, which you can download if you have any Logitech devices. By far the most inferior in terms of response time is the Bluetooth. You can see as I scroll, it's barely registering, so you're constantly having to just keep scrolling, hoping that it will respond. Whereas if I scroll on the Logitech, which is 2.4 gigahertz, each motion of my fingers is giving that. Now, in terms of smooth scrolling, we're not seeing much smooth scrolling here because Word really is only taking one line at a time, so maybe this isn't the best program, especially when it's zoomed in to 270%. So maybe I'll, and by the way, the mouse receiver is a bit far away from the mouse, so, and there's a big metal table blocking the transmission a little bit, and my body, so hopefully I won't be too much in the way. Now I want to just take all this text, I'll get rid of that nonsense there that I just typed, and we'll copy and paste it a bunch of times so we can get more reasonable side scrolling. But you're going to want to see, so if I scroll like that, it doesn't really become smoother, but I blame Word for this, because this mouse would scroll nicer. Like if I go into one of my videos here, you can see it scrolls quite nicely with the mouse. You can see that you don't even need to see what it says, you can just see the smoothness, right? And if I use the Logitech up the top, it gives me equal smoothness, though not as much control as using my finger like that on a mouse. This one, from it doesn't wake up when you use the mouse trackpad or anything, so you've really got to press a button first. Try to press something that's non-destructive like Control or Function down here, not a left mouse click, because you don't know where you don't want to have to check where your mouse pointer is at all times on the screen when you're doing this. And now I'm going to you can see it jump just with the one motion of the scroll, and the smoothest I can scroll with this is just absolute jumpiness. Okay, so this touchpad or trackpad, I don't know what you want to call it. I'll probably forget which one I've decided to call it and just keep interchanging. But if I use this one, the RTech, I want to make that glow, so I've got to press a button on the keyboard because the trackpad on this one is too inferior, it does not wake it up. If I scroll on this, you can see it just jumping across uncontrollably. It's even actually better to use this little mini keyboard to control scrolling than the RTEC, even though the RTEC is a more of a full-size keyboard. And I don't want to offend anybody by saying it's full-size when it doesn't have the number pad or anything, but this is more full-size than this, I think you'll agree. Okay. Scrolling with this one, if you scroll a little bit, it's going to go quite far. So I just roll my fingers along it. The K830 scroll is no match for a mouse wheel, of course, but we're going to be using it from a couch or a bed. But you can roll your fingers gently, and you can get continuous, beautiful mouse scrolling like that. Just turn these lights back up. So you've seen the backlights all working on all of them. So long as on this one you press a keyboard key, not the trackpad, because it doesn't respond. It doesn't even wake up and light up when you press a mouse button. And this one doesn't respond to waking up from a mouse or trackpad either. Only these two do. On the back of this and on the underside of this, actually no, this one's micro USB. This one is the only one that is USB-C. It's the most modern of the keyboards. And I use this little connector, the magnetic part on the back, which has concentric circle. Oh, sorry. Oh, not sure which camera is going to be best for you. It has concentric circles that line up with pins, so it doesn't matter if it's rotated or not, it'll still always get that circuit through. And I've put that in each of these keyboards because I don't want what's happened to these constantly, which is the interior circuit of the power socket from micro USB to keep breaking off from the circuit board. I may need to remove that. In fact, I probably will have to remove that when I open these up with the screwdriver, because the plastic silver looking part on the back breaks free from the top and bottom of the keyboard when we break it open. So I'm going to put this aside for now because that was just a comparative one. That's the one I've been using while these two have been in repair and they're still not fixed. Now I'm just going to show you in Word what issues we have with each of these keyboards, and I'll try to fix them one at a time. This one is the one that's been fixed 3 times now. I just got it back yesterday and had a big dispute with the guy who fixed it, and he kind of fucked it up. So at the moment the volume up and volume down buttons are all like jammed from whatever he's done inside, and they're not protruding properly, and I can't press them without really squeezing. They should be protruding like this one, whose volume controls are not broken. It's very hard for you to see at the angle I'm showing you. But this is almost, these volume control buttons up the top here are almost flush with the chassis. Better start thinking what words I'm going to use for you. And these ones, as you can see, they protrude. These are the 3 buttons we're talking about. These 3 here, these 3 protrude and work very well. Okay, and these are the main buttons I use on any HTPC keyboard. The volume buttons. Like I said, this one, they're really crunched in, and they're wobbling, right? So whatever's happened inside, whatever he's done, he's fucked it up. The volume on this one, which is why I've kept it versus other ones, and also because of the span of how far across the screen the cursor can go. You can see in Word right now where this cursor is, right? On the screen. I don't know how to point here, but up there in the top left-hand corner of the screen, you can see what's going on, right? There's the mouse cursor. I'll show you. If I go to the far left, I'll drag from left to right at the slowest speed possible, and you should see how far across the screen the mouse can move. Now this seems to be dependent on whichever program you're using. At the moment it's only ending up there. This is Word to 1997. If you scroll faster, I'll try again, I'll go faster, and it made it all the way to the other side of the screen. With the Logitech here, if I start on the left hand side and go across, it makes it exactly further, it goes further, because I've got two screens side by side, so that you can expect this isn't just 1920 by 1080, it's double that in terms of width. So nearly 4000 by 1080, okay, minus 160, which is 3840 by 1080. But you're only ever going to see 1920 by 1080 because of the way I have to make this in this program for you and put it on YouTube, because it's not going to double screen for you on whatever setup you've got. I'm just assuming everyone's just got at least a 1920 by 1080 screen, and that you are serious about your keyboard and you're not watching this on a little phone, because I'm not going to try to cater for phone people. Right? I expect you have a big enough monitor that you can see actually what's going on here. All right. If you do watch it on a phone, maybe there'll be something you can learn from me describing what I'm seeing, because you won't be able to see anything. This is going to be opened now as I try to fix these keys. But first, before I do that, I'm going to zoom in on Word a bit. As you can see, I default to mouse because this is so much better than any of this. Right? Even if these were fully working, and these mouse trackpads are fully working, I still prefer a mouse every time. But I very rarely sit at a desk. Nearly all the time either lying in bed looking at my projector on the ceiling, or I'm sitting on my couch looking at my TV, which is all hooked up with multiple HDMI cables running from my PC throughout the house to hook up to everything. Because I've got, a keyboard I can just take into another room. I've got this UE Boom, Mega Boom 3 that I can take into lots of rooms, and I bring this sound and speak it. I could buy another one of these, but, and that's why I've got two keyboards as well, because generally I just leave one in this room when they're all working and take another one to the other room, and I don't have to keep carrying peripherals around the house to get things done. But I've never bought a second speaker. Well, I did have one, but I gave it to my mum because she didn't have a proper good sound system. So these things are awesome. Okay, I love the UE Boom, Mega Boom. Okay, it's portable, battery lasts for ages, plug it into anything, and Bluetooth works. Obviously, with Bluetooth, you're not going to get live audio, and you can see I've got a mixing desk here because I'm a musician. So I use dedicated air links. It's a product I sell from zen.com. And these, with the transmitter and the receiver, give 2.4 gigahertz uninterrupted RF transmission, which has probably got about less than 12 milliseconds of latency, whereas Bluetooth has 40 to 200 milliseconds of latency. So if you're singing, or if you're speaking like I am now through audio systems, there'd be latency when you hear yourself back, and your voice would not align and your brain would break. Okay, and I also got the Shure P3RA, which comes with a PSM 300 transmitter, and this is the receiver. So this is also an in-ear monitor system that gives me live sound, and I could just as easily be using this, and given I don't need such high audio quality from this would be more convenient, and this has a 10-hour battery life, so I could have just shoved this in my pocket and be using that instead. But because I'm running everything from my mixing desk, I'm getting good control over all the volume levels just by reaching over here and just winding knobs and stuff. This one's got a volume control on it as well, but yeah, there's no real reason not to be using that right now, but I've set it up the way it is. If I start going back and forward to the kitchen too much, I'll swap this, which is heavy, and I'm just wearing elastic track pants, and this is heavy and industrial. So it's not like I've got a belt with jeans on, because that's the sort of weight we're talking about here. You need to be wearing clothes that have a sort of a structure that can bear the weight of this kind of thing. Okay, because this is metal, so it's high, heavy duty. Any interference you hear is due to this microphone, this wireless microphone that I'm wearing on my arm, as the microphone transmitter sends to the wireless microphone receiver and back into that desk. This is overkill with information, but I don't want to be pressured by people who have no patience, whose feet are tapping and they're scrolling through lots and lots of videos. I assume you want to know what's going to go on with these K830s. In reference to which keyboard is best on the market right now to compete, this is the only one that's really had a chance over the others. I've sent all the others back for a refund. And now that I've kind of got this, I'm not really using this anymore. But I've told Amazon I'm going to send it back for a refund, but I haven't quite figured out if I want to do that yet, because it is kind of handy if I have people over and I just want to chuck it over to them and they can navigate through YouTube and type, what they want to watch, or Netflix or whatever else. Let's talk about the K830 and how to fix it. First of all, we're going to go into Word. I'll enlarge that so you can see it a bit better. In OBS, by the way, if you don't know what OBS is a program where you can film your screen and you can add layers. Like I've got the layer of myself here in the corner. I've got the downward facing camera looking at the table, and then I've taken the Windows screen, which is monitor 2, and I put that up in the corner. Monitor 1 is my OBS control center, okay, which you can't see. The two cameras are, one is an iPhone 11, which is overhead. Oh, sorry, that's an iPhone 12 pointing down, and the one facing my face is an iPhone 11. I looked and researched in depth at what kind of cameras I needed, and I used to have big, industrial DSLR sort of type cameras. Like trying to mount them and get around and set them up. With this setup, I can zoom in and out and do all that sort of stuff just through OBS, and it's super simple, and it's better than any webcam I could see on the market. In order to mount all these lights and have like an extra portable camera and all this sort of stuff, and have a green screen behind me and everything else, I've built a rig. I've got Neewer lights that I can control from my third phone, my main phone. So they're Bluetooth remotely controlled, these lighting around me, and I can change the colors and everything. And behind me I've got a green screen, okay, which also converts to a blue screen. And I've made videos about all that stuff too, if you want to watch back through my home studio videos. I hope that you can get more than just information about this keyboard from my videos, and it's of interest to you. By the way, this is a Nux transmitter receiver for a guitar, which is sitting beside me on a stand. Nux, Nux probably, but don't write Nux if you mean Nux. It's their fault, not mine. Okay, this is a screwdriver. This is the right size for this keyboard. I'm going to open it in a sec. Let's just test out all the keys on this keyboard. Okay, escape. I'm going to highlight that and press escape. No, that is not something that escape would fix. I'll right click. No, I'm going to have to use the keyboard to do everything, okay? So let's press escape to start. Okay, escape worked. Right click, escape. I accidentally pressed F1, I think. All right, scrolling works. Left click, click and drag to highlight works. Left mouse was a bit unresponsive then, and it has a bit of a squeezing sound. Like, that's not a good sound. I don't know what they've done in here to make these keys all jammed, but it might have been the same sort of thing they've done to affect this. Could it simply be as simple as they did not screw? Let me just turn this off so I can turn it upside down on the table. It's power button, power switch, sorry. did they not screw these screws in tight enough and is just lumping outwards. The guy who fixed this prided himself on being a tech whiz, but he really didn't know what he was doing. I can see this screw is not indented like the others. He's also lost the 4 rubber feet, but I've pursued it through Airtasker and they've basically sided with him, like it's my fault for complaining. But he broke 2 of my $750 keyboards, and there's nothing I can do about it because this is not a just world. There's no way that tightening any of that is going to make any difference. Now you might think, alright, well, you've got this little magnetic thing in here that's probably jamming the plastic chassis open more, so it's going to cause the buttons not to be pressed down all the way properly. But I was there when he put a whole bunch of hot glue all over this, and shit, if I've got to remove hot glue from in here, I'm fucked. Because I'd have to get out a soldering iron and melt it, and this is a beautiful new secret Magnus Pro desk, which I freaking love, and I would not want to harm it. And I know this table cover is, you know, changeable, but I've clamped all. I'm not going to go and buy another one because that fuckwit fucked my keyboard. Okay. All right, let's just go through every button. Looking up here at Word. First of all, let's find where the freaking cursor is. Okay, Windows has lost the cursor. The cursor no longer exists. Can't find it. It just does not exist. This happens in Windows quite a lot, and then I'm never sure why. I'm going to press Escape here. No, the cursor's just... Alright, the cursor's reappeared over there now. Alright, here it is. Okay, the mouse is jumping quite unresponsively. If I put it over here, it works a bit better because my body's not blocking the signal. But I kind of need to keep the transmitter. I don't really, because this mouse... Where is the... Actually, I think the transmitter from the mouse is directly beneath my leg here. Let me just unplug this receiver. Yeah, it is that one. It's right beside me. It's just that this table is solid metal and the transmission is going from there, less than a meter, by the way, through the table to the receiver. The receiver's plugged into a USB 1 port, I think, 1.0, so that could have something to do with the transmission speed. So maybe that's the problem. I don't know how radio frequencies work in a room this small when there's just a metal wall, effectively this table, between the transmission and the receiver. I just kind of expect radio waves to travel through walls and all sorts of things. Anyway, so one little table should kind of just bounce off my body and back into, I don't know, whatever it has to do. It's electromagnetism. It's mysterious. It's got quantum entanglement shit going on. I have no idea how that stuff works. Okay, so scrolling works. It's a mouse. I'm not even testing this. Okay, escape. Go. These are set. Okay, this is turned off. I just turned it on, but that light didn't come on. It's extremely... This light did not come on when I just turned the... Okay. This power switch is jammed. It turned on eventually, as you can see the green light there. If I start messing around with these F1 to F12, plus insert and delete, it's going to start taking me into fucking media controls, and I hate those stupid media control buttons on keyboards, except for volume, obviously, which these ones here. But I don't want any of that. The only thing I want is brightness of the keyboard. Backlight. Just give me a second. Okay, I'm going to type all these keys. Ready? On the top, that's the tilde key. I'm not going to test the shift plus these other things unless I really think it's necessary. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 0, minus, plus, or say dash equals. Yeah, like what's that? Minus, shift plus, equals, okay. Backspace works as well. Tab works. QWERTY. write in the comments if you think you can pronounce this entire keyboard in order, because it'll be really useful to go QWERTY UEOP as Let me know if you've memorized that and you can just pronounce it as a single supercalifragilisticexpialidocious type thing. Or if you can come up with a sentence or like a little story so that it helps us memorize the order of keys, that'd be cool. Break it into sentences so that the top line finishes in a word beginning with the letter P, and the second sentence starts with the letter A and finishes with the word starting with the letter L, and the bottom one starts with like zebra or whatever. Zebras, xylophone, blah, 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 M. Okay? Potentially, you might need to chuck in little mini words like zebras play xylophones candidly, vivaciously. But I don't know. Whatever. Try to make the words smaller than vivaciously, okay? Like zebra is okay. Xylophone, I think we can expect. Or X-ray. Do that for me, thanks. Given I'm doing this for you. It's fair exchange. Each of you watching, think of write a story. That's your homework. Okay, that's just payment for this video. Okay, not that this video is going to be any good, but it's a lot of effort. You know what I mean? So just go to the same amount of effort that I go to now for you in figuring that out for me. And then I'll just pick the best one and go, cool, now I can memorize the keyboard. It'll help me find where the buttons are after like 47 years of typing. 1 second. And still not knowing. I've got to still look. And I never learned to touch type, which is not learning really, is teaching yourself. I think you've got to sit there and just concentrate. Right. Anyway, so we got QWERTY UEOP all works. Left bracket, right bracket, backslash, caps lock. I've disabled caps lock, I think, in Logitech options. That's why that's not working. Does this caps lock up here work? Oh yeah, it is. So you can see on the screen there's a little pop-up occasionally. Alright, now I'm going to do sorry, I thought it was add. It's not add, it's semicolon apostrophe enter. Okay, now go shift. We know that works because I just made a capital Z, right? Z, X, well, the C seemed to double tap itself twice, but I might have lifted it off. Yeah, that's maybe just holding it down too long. This C. Feeling, yeah, they're both the same amount of audio when I tap in terms of how loud the keys are when you just tap and just hear the springing mechanism inside without actually pressing down. They seem okay, as good as new, I think. So, yeah, okay, let's go back. I want to do this line again. Curve button, comma, full stop, or period, / shift. Check that shift. Yeah, that gives me capital letters. Control, function, all this stuff. Right, now in these buttons here, volume mute is if I got to press really hard because the buttons are not responding nicely. Volume down, you've got to press really hard in. And volume up, not responding. Okay, it responds if I really start feeling like I'm mashing the interior circuit board. Left click. Can't. Okay, click. It's actually it can feel it squeezing and making a lot of noise. Right mouse is no good. This button up here is the left mouse's button as well, just in case you're sort of sitting on the couch and you want to just use your thumb and highlight things or whatever, I guess. There's hardly any occasion that I would ever use that left mouse button. It's not like an Xbox controller or something where I'm pew pew pew. Okay. It's really annoying with this one because you are navigating throughout the screen with the up and down and side arrows and everything, that the OK button is actually the enter key and not the left mouse click. If it was left mouse click, it would just be super useful. Unfortunately, this one has weird positioning for the left and right mouse buttons up there. You can tap and left and double finger tap to right mouse click, but yeah, you want physical buttons. If you don't have physical buttons, I would say it's a deal breaker for any of these keyboards. This one does have physical buttons down here, but they're way too low. This is the Logitech HB 305 4B. Alright, so we can see that all the keys work, up and down arrows, left and right. Function, if I go function backspace, it allows me to capture the screen so I can see that works. And now I'll open the keyboard. I'll turn it off. I'll remove the magnetic charger from... What happened there? Okay. That usually doesn't ever turn off, which is annoying, but it's the way it operates. It's like it came out of its socket on the other end, or the internal wiring here is starting to break already on that. But it is, as you can see, the slow green glow on the corner there is charging. I'm going to take this off and put it in my little tray over here. And I'm going to turn this off and flip it. The rubber feet have been taken out by the guy who was paid to fix this and ended up breaking it. And he's lost them, or he doesn't give a shit. He just dumped it on his doorstep and said, come pick it up. And Airtasker supported him in destroying two of my priceless fucking Logitech K830 keyboards. But, okay, so what do you do with these little screws? I'm just going to put it up here, okay? You're not going to see that. Put them there so you can keep an eye on it. It's your fault if they go missing. The carpet is pretty much the same color as these microscopic freaking screws, so be careful. This screwdriver is magnetic, which is good. So, well, it's not. Well, maybe it is, but the screws are not. It's not very magnetic, okay? It's very unmagnetic. Like, it's untrustworthily magnetic. Probably better if it didn't have any magnetism at all, because it gives you false hope, which is much worse than no hope at all. Okay, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, there'll be 8. Okay, all screws are out. Now, the only thing connecting the top and bottom halves of the K830 keyboard is the cable that runs from the back of the trackpad into the circuit board on the bottom half of the keyboard, okay? Now, to get this thing jammed open, by the way, I can tell you all the bits that are going to spring off. The keys are all locked in. You can get them out. It's easier when the keyboard is open to take them out. You just flip this entire thing and pop each key out, and I've done that and washed both keyboards. Took a long time, but it was a bit fun, like a jigsaw puzzle. Okay, so it's going to be the top half with the keys and the trackpad all stuck to it. This piece of plastic here, this thing sits alone. This bottom part, which has the circuit board attached, like drilled into it. And this piece of plastic here, and this switch here, and this switch here, they're the things that'll break off deliberately for dismantling. The socket, the power socket here, is the most fragile thing, just really badly designed in the first place by Logitech to sort of clumsily attach itself to the circuit board in a very weak way. Okay, this is the point where everything's sticking. And I've got to be careful here because I don't know what they've done inside. They could have just put glue down and just jammed it all in a way that's going to cause a massive amount of destruction and tearing the circuit board apart. If they just jammed glue in there, then it could cause massive breakage problems. Usually this clicks apart at this point as well. Okay, that did. I'm hoping the plastic didn't just snap, so this thing will never be repairable. And let's hope that they haven't jammed all this together. Okay, that bit's come out, which is good. Let's go there. Now let's see what damage they've done in here. Have they just squirted a whole bunch of hot glue, causing all the keys... Keys. Oh my god. Sorry, I can't hear anything right now because the batteries on this thing have run out. I'm going to switch over to those. Okay, so this is much louder because it's got a, I don't know, I guess the volume's up a bit higher. I'll just turn it down for myself, just on the control deck over here. I'm gonna have to recharge these batteries. Just a sec. Alright, I can hear you. I can hear me again now. Alright, and we were just about to discover why this corner here is all jammed up. Let's hope they haven't totally just squirted a whole bunch of hot glue in here and fucked it permanently. Okay, that's good. It didn't, like the top is not just glued on. Alright, so now this is the bit where you open the keyboard and you see, okay, it's fallen out. This part of the keyboard is connected by a little, I like to disconnect this part here, just there. Okay, so what happens is that tiny little component, that tiny little ribbon cable connects from the circuit board here and goes into that spot there, and then you just close that to lock it. So this is the top part. That is the left and right mouse buttons, and these are all the other keys underneath. And here are the three volume buttons: mute, volume up and volume down. I'm just looking at them to see if there are any broken bits of plastic that they might have destroyed, but it all looks intact there. Make sure I don't lose any of the plastic switches or anything. So I'll just take off this bit of plastic here because it will jump around, and this other button here, which is the left mouse button, even though it looks like it should switch things left and right the way it's designed, but in fact it just goes in and out. Whereas this one here, which looks like it is just one that goes in and out, actually slides along as the power on and off buttons. And this is just the plastic shielding for those three things. So this, thus far, I mean, we've tested the trackpad to see that that worked, and this is the only, that's what this circuit board is for here. Just that. If you do want to take the keys out and clean in all the gaps and everything, you simply come under there with some kind of way to pop it out. You could potentially use your finger for most of the keys, right? And then at the end, after you've taken them out and you've put this under the tap, just be careful of that circuit board when you're washing all this with, you know, a scrubbing brush or whatever. And then you have to jigsaw it all back together, which is a bit of fun. And if somebody makes me that poem that I talked about where you know the names of the QWERTY sentence, or even if you have a link to somebody who's already done that. But before you do that, just try to be inventive and come up with one yourself and make it good so that it'll go viral. I'm doing you a favor, trust me. If you're the person who invents the QWERTY poem, and it can be called the QWERTY poem, give me credit for that though, although that's weird. You're just breaking up poems into all the different, like, it's not like the credits roll at the end of a poem. You take full credit, okay? Just make the QWERTY poem, and then you'll be famous forever. And call yourself Anon, which means you get credit for every Anon poem ever written. When they figure out who you are, it's like, oh, you're the person who wrote the Anon poem from the 1800s. Let's have a look. I'm going to zoom in quite destructively. You won't be able to see anything else on the table, even if I want you to. This is the iPhone 12, so I'm going to just use... There you go. It's a bit better for you. Left mouse button, right mouse button. They both have been working. The power switch, not really crucial here, I guess. You could probably do it remotely. Okay, yeah, that goes in there like that, right? And the way that seats over the switch is it's U-shaped, okay? And this is a very tiny little switch on this circuit board here. So by putting that plastic sheath over the top of it, like this, in there, we can switch it on to the right, I guess. Put that there. Then I'm going to slide this to the right and turn the keyboard on. Now, I've got no trackpad there, but I can left and right click. So I've just moved this mouse into a position. Can you see the pointer on the screen? Now I'm just going to click in between the T and the Y and QWERTY with the left mouse button. Oh, yep, that's right. Okay, so you can see I can triple. No, it's no longer responding. This is what happens. That should totally, okay, it's just, I'm going to right click, okay, left click, escape. I've got to bear in mind, I do not want this to move. By the way, I get the feeling that they've replaced the circuit board underneath with some kind of metal, because I don't think this is original what they've done. So I mean, I was quite rude because the volume controls are all busted, but this looks like it may have been replaced. I don't want to mix up any components between these two keyboards, but I think it is worth opening up and comparing what the repaired twice Logitech keyboard looks like internally compared to the repaired once Logitech keyboard. It looks like he has removed a lot of the hot glue from in here, which I'm very pleased about. I thought he must have just jammed a whole bunch of hot glue in here, which is why it still didn't close properly and so on. I don't know what's happening here. There's plastic that looks like it may have been snapped at that cylinder. Is that a... Yeah, that if I flipped that, which would make the plastic membrane fall off, that is a point that corresponds to a screw hole right underneath here, there, that screws in and holds everything compact. It squeezes the top and bottom of the chassis together, and potentially that's causing a lack of compression and making the volume buttons not stay up properly like they should. You can see if I press from underneath, the volume up buttons can be what's the word? Embossed, beveled. I don't know what the word is. They stick up more, okay? If I'm holding them out with my fingers properly. And there's something lacking here that's causing the lack of springiness. I'm not sure if there was supposed to be a plastic membrane that sort of elevates all of this a bit. But we'll see when I open the second Logitech K830 keyboard. Now, hopefully this is incredibly useful for you. I wish I had a video like this to watch when I was trying to repair my K830s for the first time. I'm going to put this to the side, keep it upright so that membrane doesn't all fall off. Okay, it's best when you take these K830s apart to keep them with the base down and the keys up. I'm going to dismember this one now. Sorry, buddy. Take out the power thing because otherwise the plastic sheath like this would jam when trying to remove it, okay? Because this thing would be sticking through the hole and remaining connected, and it's dangerous for the connection point, which we do not want to give leverage to. So I've got a whole bunch of screws being collected over here on my left. And I've got to be careful not to lose them. I feel like I need to put them in a safer spot. So I'm going to count all 8 screws, make sure I haven't lost any. 1, 2, 3, 4. Where is it? It's there. See, it's very hard to find, especially if it falls into the dark grey carpet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then that thing's magnetic, so it's going to just stick all those screws to it. I'll take that chunk and I'm going to put it over here. Now I'm going to open this one up. I'm going to take things like this and put them away as well. And that little canister that I've got on my left. Now, the rubber stoppers, don't want to lose them. It's probably best to leave them on because gluing them back down is not good. If I turn this off, yep, the keyboard's off. Is it on the inside or the outside where the screws are? No, I've just taken it off. Maybe I can take it off and I can find a nice glue to put them all back on later. There's no way to replace these, is there? It's not like you can 3D print rubber. And nothing will compare to the beautiful original things that fit perfectly. Alright, I feel like this keyboard is still on. Okay, now it's off. Alright. I'm just going to take them all off with the glue and everything. It's a pity, because it's hard to find glue that works for this particular scenario. I don't know why. Lack of skill on my part, I think. Yeah, I'd love to have 4 feet on both these keyboards with them both fully working. I'll dismember this. The threads, is that what it's called, ripped, they're shredded. This keyboard, by the way, let's just do a quick test on this one so you can see what's going on here. I'll turn it on. You can see the track, the mouse pointer working. You can see I can left click and highlight and right click and bring up little menus. So the trackpad works. Tapping is not responding though. Gestures work, but tapping to left click is not working on this keyboard. Volume up works, volume down, mute, they all work perfectly on that. But the tapping gesture on this keyboard, I'm going to open Logitech, I'm going to press the Windows button and open Logitech options, but the L and O don't work here. Do any of the other? Yes, the others do. Okay, I'm going to go into here and type backspace Logitech, because this one works 100%. Okay, it's just not nice. Logitech options, you can see that on the screen. I'm going to press enter with the OK button there, I guess. Hopefully that'll bring up Logitech options and it will know the difference between this keyboard and the other K830 right beside me. Cancel that. Now it seems to think I've only got one of these things. I'm going to turn this one on as well. They're both turned on, aren't they? That one's not going to work. The left click didn't work on that. Am I not allowed to click it? I'll just use an options plus, whatever. Okay, it does update available. A new version of options plus is available. Okay, just quickly relaunch that. Oops, don't want to lose this little screw here. I'll just continue unscrewing this. Maybe I shouldn't, because then it won't be a good chassis test if I do. Is Logitech going to reinstall itself? I thought it was going to download and refix itself. I don't know if that's happening. Okay, that one doesn't have those buttons. Logitech, enter. Is this a Logitech Options Plus now? It doesn't tell me. I want to... Wait, there's a pop-up. No, it's just gone straight. Look, upgrade to Options Plus. Why doesn't it just know to go there? What was I trying to do? I was trying to make sure that gestures worked. Gestures. Tap to click with one or two fingers. That's not working on this keyboard. That's a problem because the trackpad is a separate circuit from everything else. As you can see, I can make that work with the limited living room keyboard. K830 is not supported in Options. Please use Options Plus to configure it. Use an Options Plus. That was a pop-up that just appeared on a timer. Update. You can now in Options Plus. Close. Right. Okay, 1, 2. Configuring. Okay, that's good. Maybe. Okay, inactive. I'd say that's the one that's not switched on over there. And if I scroll, I can't side scroll. And then this one looks like it's fully powered with battery, and let's go in here. Some settings from Logitech Options could not be ported. Some key actions not yet available. Which ones? Doesn't say. Just got it. Right. Gestures. Let's go in here. Spread or pinch with 2 fingers. What? It's not letting me test that, and it's not responding to it either. So I don't know. Is it just telling me that's what I could do in a certain circumstance, or are they not going to let? It's not letting me do it. Is it waiting for me to use the other keyboard? I don't know. It's not clear. I'm going to go back to this one. It says it's inactive. Gestures. Spread or pinch with 2 fingers. Yeah, but where are all the other gestures? Inactive. This one. I would say that's the one that's switched off if it says inactive. Let's go in here. If I can. Tap to click enabled. Tap. Tap to click is enabled, but it's broken. I need that. It's just not working. As we saw, it does work on the other one. This is a problem. The one thing that gives me confidence that this is not an ongoing major problem is that potentially that little ribbon cable that I just showed you before is simply not flush, not lined up neatly inside its port, okay? And then on this end, so there are 2 sides, that one and the other one, and potentially it's not plugged in properly, which is super easy to fix once this thing's open, okay? So I'm going to just do the keyboard test, because scrolling works on this keyboard, okay? Now we're going to go, I can't click, tap, click, okay. Enter. Enter does not work. Let's go through the top left. Tilde, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 does not work. 9, 0 does not work. Minus doesn't work. Equals works. Backspace works. Tab's working. Q-U-W-E-R-T-Y work. U, no, U doesn't work. I, O doesn't work. P, no, left bracket works, right bracket doesn't work, backslash works. Caps lock is not bringing up anything on that screen, but I'll go into Logi options just quickly and see if caps lock has been disabled. Settings, caps lock, check the keys you want disabled. Caps lock is now undisabled. So if I press caps lock now, that works, okay. Caps lock does work. Okay, A, turn off caps lock. S, D, D does not work. F, G, H, J, K, no, yep, K, L doesn't work. Semicolon works. Apostrophe does not work. Enter does not work. Shift A, both of those buttons work. Z, X, C, V, B, N, M, comma, full stop, /, Shift, Q works. Control, if I click and drag, I'll press Control C, Control copy, and then Control V. Well, I did it over the same spot, which is pretty useless. Control copy, move over there, Control V. So Control works. Function, backspace, okay, so that works. Windows button works. Alt, I can't think of anything to do with Alt in this program. Spacebar works. Alt, like I said, can't think of anything to do with Alt in this program. And this Control button here, Control V, let's try that. Office access key Alt V, continue typing menu. It seems to have thought that that's an Alt button I'm pressing. When I press I'm going to do this again. Control C, does that? No, it changed into a C. That Control button did not work. Control Z, Alt, I don't know what. Okay, so Alt seems to work because that's why it's bringing up a little window saying use the Alt button to do whatever the hell that instruction was. Left arrow works, right arrow works, up arrow works, down arrow does not work. Left mouse, right mouse, they both work. Gesture tapping on the trackpad as we've seen does not work. Mute, volume there and volume there. Left click up here in the top left works. And obviously power off and on works. I'm going to turn it off, and from now on I've got these two keyboards that I can use to control the computer. Because if we zoom out a bit, you'll be able to see, and I'm not going to do that because I want to just keep zoomed in for, so you can see dismantling of this second Logitech keyboard. All 8 screws are present. Let me keep them all in a safe space over there in the little tray that I've got, separate from the other 8, so there should be 16 screws from 2 keyboards. That one came out a bit too easily. Could also be concerned that the chassis could be snapped in certain points, which is causing the keyboard not to be able to close nicely enough. This keyboard, the guy who fixed / broke these keyboards, he put hot glue all over everything in the beginning. And in this one, I used a soldering iron to sort of melt it out and scoop out the excess so that the chassis could close, because when the chassis doesn't close properly on the K830 keyboards, buttons stop working. Because the play on each key, if it's that far, it'll only be able to reach that far and it will not reach its destination. So the keyboard needs to be flush closed. Now, as I see here, this is kind of already separating on its own in a way that makes me think that it's not, the clips are not in a good spot. I need to just face down and lift the keyboard cover off. I'll take this bit of plastic on the seal here out, put it with the others, and then I'll that came off way too easily. Like the clips are all snapped or something. Now looking at the... Oh, fuck's sake. Okay, so the top left click fell out. And you can see there the ribbon cable. I can already see that it's not sealed there, but I will try now to... No, I'm not going to. I'll just take that off, okay? At the moment, trying to deal with that circuit board is impossible for me because I'm not a freaking cyborg. But the keys all seem to be normal plastic, responding as normal with no jamming or anything of any kind. It's all circuit board related, I think. This is, I'm going to call this 2. Like, let's just remember that the second one with all the broken keys has a D written there. With potential, like, metal. So this is not the one I just received back, okay? This is the one I kept at home, and you'll soon be able to see that with some of the hot glue that still remains, because he's really cleaned up the hot glue on the one he sent back to me, which is good. Alright, so I was mistaken. All of that is originally as the same. He hasn't done anything amazing to put some metal or paper or, you know, kind of fixed anything along here that I can visibly see. Okay, I'll look closer in a second. I'm going to put this one on the floor because I know more desk space. Let's lean it against my guitar. Alright. This insulation here, I'm trying to think of a reason it needs to exist. When this is on top, it might be useful for it to exist, so it doesn't, so that where would that press against on this keyboard? It'd be like that, right? So that part there would press against pretty much that rubber, that bit of foam. Okay. This is the top from the other keyboard. Just remember, this was the one that didn't have the left tap gesture. I'm just gonna flip. I can't remember how to open this one. This has no stick left on it. It's like the type of glue where when it hardens, it's almost like the insulation is not for this, it's more for those terminals there, maybe. I'm just going to take it off. Now, I've forgotten how to push this in and out. There's a switch on this thing. I'll try to see if I can digitally zoom you right in on the iPhone 12 here. Sorry about the quality, that's just digital zoom. I don't remember how this one flicks open and closed. With this one, it's straightforward. This on this side, it just down is lock and up is open. I don't know I can't remember how to lock and unlock this one. I thought maybe that whole white bit slid forward to release the ribbon cable, but it could be the black part that needs... Okay, it is the white part. You just got to use a bit of force, and that's how you click that ribbon cable connector forward. Now when putting the ribbon cable back in, you want the blue side facing up, okay, of this cable, with the terminal sides facing down. And you can see that on this other one, which doesn't have a problem with gestures. Okay, so I'm just going to copy that and put it back the way it was, so that's in a nice position. Slide that back in snugly, and then squeeze that back down, and now it's locked. Here we can see where there was a mess with a lot of hot glue, where he fucked up and tried to secure this down, and he microscopically soldered this power socket into position. I haven't taken this plastic thing out, but it's good because I don't want to have to deal with putting that in and out. But I have problems with the volume controls. Right, okay, so the volume buttons, as I predicted, he has lost the rubber in the one he gave back to me. He didn't put that back in. There's rubber here, and I have no idea how I'm going to replicate that. This springiness with these three, right? It's exactly the same as the left and right mouse button. Unless it's floating around freely inside this case. He was a really rude asshole, by the way. I'm very angry at him. I cannot, at least it's an easy thing to see what the problem is by sight. And all these other keys appear to be working now since he's given it back to me. We could take this off and examine whether or not he did any kind of major soldering repairs along the membrane lines underneath, but I know from experience that if I move that at all, it's going to lead to massive problems. It could just be that those things there were not plugged in properly, and those things are very difficult to plug in and out. If I try to see a comparison between these two, can't tell the difference. Looks like he's also clamped these cables down. I'm just saying, the clamps do exist in this one as well, which is good sign. Okay, so that's something different between these two if we're playing a game of spot the difference. Okay, this cable here, which causes bowing and so on, like in the chassis, has been clamped in here and here, and it looks like there as well. Whereas this one is just bouncing around freely, potentially causing the case not to close properly. Also, the thing I feared before about this plastic being snapped is identical here, so it's not snapped at all, which is good. This cable's running neatly all the way along here, and this original one works with all those keys now that he's given back to me. It's just that those volume controls do not work. In order to get that rubber out, he's obviously had to lift this out, meaning that the rubber membrane that he's taken out of here could be jammed in under there somewhere, which means I'd have to remove a screw, that screw, to remove this, and I don't know how much damage that would cause, but potentially it's slipped down behind and it's still going to work, but I don't know. I don't want to break this keyboard that already kind of works just to risk seeing if that rubber thing, but I won't have volume controls working unless I get that rubber membrane back, and I don't know how I could ever replace that. It's such an accurate piece of technology, not technology, just component, right? I don't know what I could put there instead. The rubber feet from underneath, I could sacrifice those bits of rubber maybe and just plonk them on top. But, I mean, like, so the rubber feet that... Let's have a look here. Would these rubber feet, if I stuck them on, like, I could cut them in half each and then just... It'd give me some protrusion, and what if I put the volume control thing back on, potentially that's all that's required to just give me some. And as you can see on the screen, the volume control is working as I do that. So there's no conductor, there's nothing about conduction from above. It's just a bit of rubber that you need to press down. I don't want to sacrifice these beautiful irreplaceable feet though. So if I could find some other kind of rubber to put in those three locations, somewhere around the house, rubber is the way to do it, so it feels nice. That's going to solve that problem. I don't really want to chop those feet up to pieces. Now that we've found the problem for that keyboard, we really have. I think that's the only problem. I mean, I could look under here, lift that screw up and see if it's just slipped underneath, but I can't see it all mangled in underneath, and I can't see any place where it would fit. It's like pulling that apart would be trying to destroy a bedroom just to see if the elephant is hiding in the cupboard, and we know it's fucking not, because we're not little kids. Unless it's folded in half really thin under there somewhere, but it's unlikely, because how would it fit? Look at the amount of space it takes up. I don't think they're 3 independent pieces of rubber. I think they are one strip, just like that, or that, right? If you can see close enough, those 3 parts there are protruding, which is why that rubber foot that I just played with worked. I'm gonna just put this back on here for a second. This keyboard is actually switched on. I put it in the wrong spot, so I'll put it over to the right a bit. Now I've turned it off. Now it's on. Let's talk about this keyboard here now, because I feel like the volume control problem will be solved once I put rubber in there. I might even just be able to put some kind of tissue in there if push comes to shove. Okay, maybe just toilet. I could potentially put toilet paper here, like little squares that are all folded up, and have enough, but they would crush over time. Rubber springs back to its original space. Let's just put that one on the side, okay? We're going to concentrate on keyboard 2, the one that's been in my house, the one with all these buttons here across here don't work. One thing we noticed was that these are in their proper harness locations and these ones are not, so I'm going to just simply try to, how does this first bit get around there? Just bends in midair, and you can see how much it's sticking up. It is sticking up a little bit, but it's not causing massive blockage problems. So I'm just going to try to jam it into the first little spot there. Let's give myself a bit of extra light up here first. I'm going to jam that down in there. You can see the work he did here, and it was a big glob, and the keyboard just was impossible to close. So he did remount that power socket. Okay, that slipped in there easily, and this bit over here. Is there something important there that's missing from the second one, or is that it? See, a lot of the problems with the K830 keyboard, and it's very important that you know this, and it's probably worth watching this video just to hear this one sentence, come from the chassis not closing tightly. I want to zoom back out now so we can get a better view of the table. Okay, so on this one, you can consider the trackpad, just the motion and the gestures on the trackpad, not the left and right mouse button, not the volume controls, just the trackpad. All the problems related to this are pretty much in this circuit board, unless it becomes elaborate. And the other thing is the ribbon cable. Like, you cannot fix the circuit like that, right? You haven't got supervision, and you're not a robot. You're not going to be able to do it. Okay, it needs to be done by a machine. You wouldn't even bother replacing components. You just buy a new K830, or you just give up on the K830 and throw it in the bin, or sell it to somebody who's got a second K830, and you can just harvest parts, and that will be thrown away. But more often than not, with the trackpad, what I found is it's just this ribbon cable not plugged in properly on both ends, and a lot of the problems with the keys can come from simply not reaching all the way down, because there's this thing in the way. But that's not necessarily the case. There are circuits underneath this membrane which, after I've had a smoke and a coffee for a second, I will demonstrate to you because I can switch this keyboard on and we can look at Word up in the top left corner of the screen. See which ones we can get to work again. This top right corner is flush and down because there's no glob of glue there, and this one's jammed up a little bit on an angle. Little problems like that seem to sometimes cause issues. Having that lowered probably will help. I have never really understood how to get these connectors in and out, but I assume that all circuit lines underneath this membrane here, with the 2 layers of plastic printed membrane, seem to hook in in a very fragile way, and they lay it on top of each other like that, and then they land on this, which I think is just an insulator underneath. I don't think there's anything under there except it's just pushing upwards. But the fact that it needs to be pushed upwards could be cause for investigation into what. I'm just looking along here and see if it's plugged in anywhere up along the line there, because I don't know. I'm not a technician of any sort. There's no reason for there ever to be any breaks in this line. You're just pressing rubber buttons from above. He claimed that he needed to redraw lines. Let's see if he's done any redrawing along any of that. Looks like he hasn't, using some sort of, silver nitrate pen or something, because you can't solder through projector screen plastic. These points appear to be somewhat stuck together at certain points, but I'm not sure in what way. Like it's stuck together there, sort of melted together at that point there, just so it stays in alignment, I assume. Potentially these metal parts press down on top of one another and close circuits. I've seen in videos sometimes people have multimeter and they're just taking readings and they think there's a break along the line there in places. Don't know what's happening up here in these corners, why there are those black rectangles. I'm just going to zoom in again for you so you can get a better look at that. Okay, so there are these sort of black rectangles at the top of these plastic sheets which seem to almost be plugged into this green board at the back there. In what way they're plugged in, I can't quite really tell. No, it's not actually. It's not doing anything. Potentially these black things are places. No, it's glued together. No, it's not. Okay, sorry. I was wrong about the 2. There are 3 layers of plastic that I've just discovered here now. Okay, so 1, 2, which is just an insulator, and it has holes. I don't know if you can see that clearly, where just the circles go through to touch the other circles on the, we're going to call it membrane as well, on the layer at the bottom. And clearly they all have to be in exact alignment, because if they're not, keys won't work. If it's bent like that, will they still align? It seems like they kind of would. There's one there that's nothing. I assume that is just to land on these fixation points, so it'll land and stay in position. This is hard plastic at the bottom, and underneath that this white sheet here. If I lift up that lowest level, that white sheet, it is an insulator. There is some kind of metal at the base, and I'm not sure if that's just for chassis integrity and not part of any circuit board, because it's just one flat sheet of metal that goes all the way across the bottom half of the keyboard. Feels like aluminium. If I lift it up, you can look down through the gap a bit, you can see what's under there. I don't know what that metal's for, and it extends all the way to the bottom right, all the way across there. I'd say it's just to stabilize the keyboard so it doesn't bend. I'd say it's not relevant. So what is relevant is the circuit board membrane at the top. There's a plastic separator that just has holes in the middle like Swiss cheese, exactly where the spot dots are supposed to align, and then the bottom layer. And then all of this, I think that's an add-on for the left and right mouse button. That goes there with the rubber presses on top, and that connects down to that circuit. And these left and right mouse buttons were working, so whatever connection that is, which looks like it's prone to breaking off, is still intact, and those circles there and there look like they sort of arch up when they're not clicked and press down to close the circuit when they are clicked, which could be the way that all these circles work. Now that I've just seen that, these ones want to arch up, okay, and then you press it and then it closes the circuit there and there, and that must be how every single key here works. So this one has a visible raise, whereas none of the other keys on this keyboard have these metal things on top. Why that is, I don't know. Potentially it's because it's a different button type. With these two left and right mouse buttons, and you can see that it's made for rougher pressing potentially, and you can see the way these bottom pieces of plastic will stab into those metal pieces and force those two white circles together, and these other white circles all the way across will be pressed in with a combination of membrane plus the little protrusions at the base of this, which, if you look at the way they interact, they're not as stabby. They're more spread across the width of it somehow. But they do seem to be designed to simply use this membrane here to press neatly and squarely to make these circles close their circuits. Make sure this keyboard is turned on. You can still see Word in the top right hand corner. Yeah, the keyboard's on. Just lit up. Okay. Now we're going to try to remember where QWERTY might be on this. I think the Q would probably be about there. That'd be 1, wouldn't it? That'd be the tilde key. Is the tilde key doing anything when I press my finger, tapping like that? No. I'm going to place this membrane. Do any keys work? I'm just going to move the mouse reliably here into a position where I think I know where it is. It's right there, okay? So if I type anything on there, you'd see that blue disappear and something would be typed in place. And that does work. Q, W, E, R, T, Y. Now, see, I don't know the poem. You haven't written me the poem. I don't know what the next thing is. I-U-O-P? No, it's U-I-O-P. So you got to write that poem, man. I'm suffering here. QWERTY. Is that another Y? No, I went up a line. QWERTY. Y. That should be the U. U is not working. I is working. And I guess I just held it down a bit long. Is backspace up there? Where's backspace? Up here? Is that backspace there? And that's backspace. Okay. Right. Now we don't need the membrane. You can just use your finger because we're squeezing those bits of white together in the circuit board. And as we can see, Q, 1. Okay, that's 1. Q's down here. It's interesting how low Q starts on the keyboard. Like you'd think it's up near the top here, but it's not. It's down there. Q, W, E, R, T, Y, all working. Now we get to the U. motherfucker. Okay. Keyboard is on. Q W E R T Y U. Not working. Just gonna zoom out a bit on the iPhone 12. Q. As I've lifted this in the corner, is it still on? Yeah, okay. As I've lifted this in the corner, everything's, even Q stopped working. If I let that fall back down, no, still not working. So I've broken it. Q, no, not getting Q anymore. None of that's working. Right mouse button, not working. Oh, okay, sorry. I need to move over because I was controlling. Fucking hell. Sorry. I'm coming back into Word now. Just ignore that I said that Q doesn't work. Q, W, E, R. You're seeing all this, right? I'll make it even bigger for you just so you've got more of a chance of seeing what the hell's going on there. Q, E, R, T, Y, Y, U, still doesn't work. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 doesn't work. 7 works. U does not work. Y worked before. Y, was it that Y? So 7 and Y work. 8 and U do not work. 9 and I work. So these two here do not work. 0 does not work. O does not work. Left bracket does not work. No, so right bracket, left bracket does work. O. Right bracket does not work. And slash works. So there is that a line of things that are all connected here? If we look at this circuit board, let's do what I tried to do before and see if when I bend it like this, if QWERTY still works. Yeah, Q, W, E, R, R. Okay. I'm going to go back and try Q with my finger under there, okay? Was that even going to work? Let's see. Q, yep, that still works anyway. W, E, R, T, Y, U doesn't work. I works. O. As you can see, I'm moving more and more towards these connection points where I'm suspicious that potentially they're just not plugged in nicely, or somewhere along the line the circuit board's been scratched. Though how that could ever possibly happen is hard to tell. Is there some sort of metal in between these layers facing down? It looks the same on both sides, but whatever this white stuff is, and by the way, it's smooth to the touch on this side, and I can feel it on this side. So it's been printed on this side, and this is simply we're looking through the plastic at it. So the circuit metal, whatever this is white, but it's still a conductor. Totally should work. There is a point where these 3 pages are linked together, and I don't know if they're supposed to be. I don't want to fuck with that one, because that other keyboard, because it works. It was just the volume controls. I need to rub up those. And whatever the fuck's going on here is either deliberate, and it may be something I don't want to break apart, otherwise getting it back into alignment could be fucking impossible. So upward facing from the base, you can clearly feel this, whereas this is smooth, so it's printed on this side, and this one's clearly printed on this side. Okay, so when they're facing together, they can close circuits. This Swiss cheese plastic in the middle is, I think, perfectly aligned. I can see the circles popping right in at the right spots without any blockages between the plastic insulation sheet. And I'm just inspecting it. When I see up here in the top, it looks along here like there's discoloration. I'm going to zoom right in that for you digitally, so you see it bigger on your screen at least. Okay, so black rectangles along the top there. Don't know what they're for exactly. What side are they printed on? Well, they're clearly printed on the other side because they're not the lines are running through over the top of them on this side. I don't know what these black rectangles do. They're on the top sheet only, on the very front upward facing part of it only. There are no black rectangles on the bottom sheet at all. If we look at the very top thin lines here, where my thumb is, we can see some kind of discoloration a little bit on these very skinny lines. They are the skinniest lines printed onto this board, and if there was going to be a short of any kind, it would probably be along these lines. And if you look at the very top line here, it looks like there's some potential discoloration, and potential discoloration there, along there, and along there, along the very top lines up there, but all the way across. Do these discoloration lines correspond to where the rectangles land? Hard to tell. You've got to remember that it's only the circles that need to be pressed together to close the circuits, but if there's anywhere along the circuit that is not, you know, if the wires are broken, or if there is not enough conductivity, then it will not work. I can see discoloration here. Let me get a white sheet of paper here for you. Okay, so we're going to look at the whiteness, right? I think I can see discoloration of lines along the top here, which are very thin, where they are not as cleanly drawn anymore, which could be faded from whatever the cause is. Could be overheating and burning because potentially it's just such low voltage that goes through here, so it's weird that it would ever burn. But there are LEDs shining through at all times, so the LED heat may have burned it because it wasn't designed well enough, and they have stopped manufacturing these things, so potentially that was a problem they didn't see in R&D, but they saw at the end. And you can see massive amounts of discoloration here on this bottom layer. Right there, you can see that discoloration. It's not white anymore. And the top layer is a bit discolored. Along these top lines as well. So potentially it was this wire here maybe that heated up this, because I don't know, it's just really giving you that access to that left click mouse button. I don't know why that would be a real problem, but could potentially it does heat up just enough for this fragile whatever to burn away. I'm gonna go back to doing the test with QWERTY. I'm just gonna move the mouse into a position where you can see the screen a bit better. Right, and then now I'm gonna type Q W. There's W E R T Y U. Oh, we got you back. We got you back. So just flip it around a bit and then it seems to fix. Has I stopped working? Oh, I. Okay, this is good. Is it an O? You're going to get me O? What comes after I? You haven't written me the poem yet. O. O doesn't work. P doesn't work. Left bracket works. Right bracket. Did we have both left and right brackets before? I don't think we did. And then that should be backslash. Okay. What else were we missing before? Let's go back down this next line here. What's that one? That should be a caps lock. Yep, it is caps lock. Then we go A. It would really help if I knew this off by heart. S, D, F, G, H, J, K. I'm pretty sure L didn't work before. L works. Semicolon, apostrophe. I'm not sure if L worked, just have to rewind it and check again. Enter. I'm going to press backspace, go back up, and then move the actual mouse. Yeah. I'm just going to zoom out a bit now because you don't need to really see the close-ups of the circuit board anymore. Because it could be that we don't need to have to worry about it, thank God. Could just be about shuffling this around so that potentially the pins in here land nicely, or that these circles align better. From the left here, we got caps lock. We've done the A row, but A is not working for some reason. That's an A, isn't it? Isn't it supposed to be an A? Where are we? Where's the freaking cursor? Here, A. Okay, so I must have just been in another program. A, S, T, F, G, H, J, K, L, semicolon, apostrophe, enter, and backspace up. And come back up here for a second. Scrolling works with that mouse, remember? It's not relevant. Okay, I'm going to just delete that line there. Backspace, or delete. I'm going to try delete, okay. Delete. Now, what's the next line after A? Shift. Should be a shift there. Give you a bit more zoom than that. Shift Z. Where's the freaking cursor gone? Z, good. I'm going to turn caps lock off. We'll turn it on again, don't worry. Z, X, C, V, B, N, M, comma, full stop, / shift, that should, oh, I'm because caps lock, okay, shift obviously works because it uncapitalizes things when caps lock is active. Alright. Spacebar is just that one there, I think. There aren't more than one spacebar button along the circuit board, I mean. Okay, let's go back to the top row because that was always the problem for sure. See if we can get all the O's and everything working. Alright, so this would be the numbers 1, 2, 2's not working. Okay, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8's not working. Okay, I'm gonna lift this up. It really is stuck underneath. I think these black metal might be catchment points under here, so it, like, do they align with points along here where there are screws? There are markings on this screen thing here. I don't know what they're for. Can you see those white things? They seem to be just paint or something just printed onto this circuit board where the black rectangles land. Okay. Maybe they are catchment points to keep this thing tucked under, because it doesn't seem to make any difference if I press buttons in midair like Q and W like this. Okay. So we got up to 7 worked. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so we can exclude any of this underneath stuff as being relevant to making this work. Seven is there, right? That's 8. This one does not work. Where is this connection point anywhere? It's somewhere in the center where it's just been sort of melted together. Does it need to be melted together? Is it bad or is it good that it's melted together? Should I just pull it apart, or is that a problem? It's just around this area right here. Don't want to bend it, it'll totally crack the lines or something, disfigure it. Okay, I think that point right there is a melt point where these two sheets are stuck together, and yeah, it's just that one spot right there. Just zoom in for you to show that spot. These are all important things if you're repairing this, obviously. If you're not going to be repairing your keyboard, or don't even watch this video. That's a glue point where these two things are connected. Alignment on the 8 rather than frayed or faded circuit lines would be the easiest, easy thing to fix, aside from plugging this in better, potentially. Though I never figured out how to do that. There's also this point up here, sorry, underneath here. Let me just pull this out so we can see the connection points of this circuit board into this processor. And I do assume it's this thing's fault, by the way, not this thing's fault. Why? Don't know. I'm not definitely not ruling out the connection points between here and here and here, because this mouse, these two left and right mouse buttons here are just part of that circuit board as well, right? it is only connected there, there, and there. The complexity of all of this, I'm not sure. Now, in terms of removing this screw and pulling this off, he has destructively soldered that to that, which means I can't remove this, otherwise it'll snap off all of that. Okay, so that's not possible. Under here, under this mess, where he's put all the hot glue and everything, has he broken the lines of conductivity and destroyed the so I'm just I can't lift this keyboard up for you. You're just gonna have to squint. We'll just go wide as possible, therefore you can see everything, but just squint if you can't see everything up close, right? Because as I pick this up, it's causing problems on the computer and it's bad. So is this chunk here under my fingernail, and if I rip that, all of this will come off, so it's bad as well. But are these lines here affecting the 8 on the keyboard? 6, 7, cannot get 8. 9 works, well, 9 probably printed way too many too fast, I don't know why that happened. 0 doesn't work. 8 and 0. Minus doesn't work. Backspace works. Left to right, Q, W, E, R, T. Sorry, I'll just give you more space. Q, W, E, R, T, Y. The E's back here, it works. Y, U works, I. But didn't we lose U before? So if we lost U before, 1 second. And then we got it back, that should give us hope that the other ones can come back too, right? So I, O doesn't work. I, whatever that one is not working either. I want to unplug this and plug it back in again, just in case. So how do I disconnect these lines here? There must be a flickable connection point switch where I can just plug this whole thing in and out. Like, why can't I just pull this out of there? Huh? Why can't I just unhook this from in there? I feel like if I do it, I'm going to rip that. Like, I could undo that screw and lift this whole thing, and somehow there'd be a nice obvious way to make this all connect nicely. This is all just so badly designed for maintenance in the first place by Logitech. They're going down and up. I'm lifting it out. I don't see a nice way to make this all plug in and out, and maybe because you have to get underneath it or something. Now that I've done a fair bit of jiggling around here with lifting this whole thing up like this, let's see if I've inadvertently ruined or fixed some of the keys. Let me just highlight an area on the screen here so you can see what's happening. Q, W, E, R, T, Y. U has stopped working again. That's good, because we've seen a change. I now works. Remember, before U worked and I did not work. That's why you kicked me out of the house. And now O and P work. O and P, which were never working, now work. When I shuffled all this shit around. We're making progress that I thought I was just about to give up. I was just about to give up. I just got 2 buttons back. I lost one, but I got 2 back. And it was to do with shuffling around these connection points, I think, or realigning all of this. One thing that I can exclude from the problem potentially is that these data lines that have been printed onto this plastic are ripped or torn or melted or burned. It doesn't seem to be the case. Could there be points along here that are crisscrossing over each other? No, because the plastic insulation page is separating them. I'm just wondering if they could short along here, given there's some discoloration and stuff going on there. Could they have been touching and making certain buttons not work because the plastic insulation didn't cover it nicely at certain points, because this has been all just bent and warped from, I guess, not being plugged in here properly maybe. I can feel a bit of glue under there, and I feel like I'm unplugging it or something while doing this. I can see here that the insulation plastic ends at this point, and from there this is all exposed, potentially even dirty, with bugs or bits of chocolate and corn chips under here. Am I the biggest fucking genius in the world? If this is the solution to just clean that shit out under there, all of you send me, I'm going to set up a thanks button. I don't know, I can't monetize this channel. It's fucked. Just fucking find me and just give me a big virtual hug, or send me some K830 keyboards that work that you've fixed, because you've just feel like you've won the lottery by watching this amazing video. But I don't know if I've sold it yet, but we did get I and O and U and P and shit back, didn't we? So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get a very technical tool called a wet wipe, and I'm going to clean that shit. Let's get a close-up of the dirt that's under there at the moment. That's a bit of dirt which could be causing bridging across the circuit lines and causing problems, potentially, as well as the fact that it might not be plugged in properly in those ports. Okay, I'll get that magic tool. Yeah. Baby wipes. I probably want something to dry it with as well. Should I use the baby wipes while the keyboard is plugged in and turned on? I'm going to do it while it is, okay? No, I'm not. I'm going to turn it off. Okay, now the keyboard's turned off. Now I'm going to get in under here with the baby wipes. Oh shit, do not bend it like that. It's not good. And I'm going to just wipe this shit away. Remind me this keyboard is turned off, just in case I think I fucked it. Give me even better zoom so you know exactly where I'm cleaning here. Cleany, cleany, cleany. Definitely give me a like if this works. Come on. Am I accidentally, inadvertently unplugging all the connections here, and this isn't a proper test because cleaning it and unplugging it is happening simultaneously, which is not exactly an isolated test. But I have to kind of bend it out of the way to get to the dirt. How far back does this dirt go? Am I getting a better view in there now? I'm trying to be careful not to scratch the data lines that are printed on here as well. That one there's not very dirty, and that one feels like it's insulated with plastic, whereas these two here are exposed. careful with the fingernail. Looking in through the gaps in there, there's no way it could have ever travelled up into those gaps there. But just checking anyway. Because liquid can get into everywhere, can't it? Like milk or something, like about a Milo or Big M or something. Could have dripped in there. I've got to be careful here because I don't know how well that material is going to stay. Am I scratching it? Being a bit more gentle now. Wouldn't want to test harsh chemicals on this. Are these lines exposed? I can't even tell. Maybe they are encased in plastic and I'm doing nothing at all. Alright, but it's still worth testing because I'm feeling stickiness around here. And yeah, that is definitely, there's definitely where the insulation plastic ends. And I'm basically rubbing at the printed conduit lines. And I don't know how to plug them in and out at all. Don't know if I ever will be able to. What can I use to dry this? I use the cleanest microfiber. Whoa, shit. I'm going to use my microfiber cloth that I use for cleaning my reading glasses. You can see a little like bit of glue or something in there that's connecting to that board. While I'm here, I'm kind of sort of pressing downwards to try to make sure that's more snugly plugged in, though I can't feel that that's actually achieving anything. There's some of that fucking hot glue that's all jammed up all over the place over there. Now, this won't go back into position nicely unless I squeeze that down. Can putting this conduit, putting this wire back into its little holders there help force it downwards? Can we inspect that? Has this become unplugged here? It's askew until I jam that down into the gap. And I don't really want to use a screwdriver, but it's on hand, isn't it? Better off using this bit of plastic here. And that's all seemingly landed back in its original position. This reminded me once again that this keyboard is in fact turned off. Thank you for reminding me. Over here on this top edge, is there any problem in there with all that freaking glue? Not sure. Like I say, there's that little microscopic bloody soldering job he did there with chunks of glue all over the place. This is plugged in here. That's soldered to the board. This wire that comes along is very badly made for maintenance, that's for damn sure. It would be nice if this was flattened down like this keyboard above it. I'm going to turn the keyboard back on and see if I can get all the buttons to work. But this is not lining up nicely anymore, because this has been a bit warped from my cleaning activities. I'm going to zoom back out so you get a bit more perspective here. Is that all nicely connected? Are all those circuit lines nicely connected? I don't know. I did the cleaning. Look, if this does work, I'm going to zoom into my face because I'm serious now. Alright, how do we do this? Nope, that's the wrong thing. Right, if this does work, I don't think it's because I cleaned it. It's probably because I shuffled the cables that were not in exact alignment back into a position where they were probably in good alignment, okay? So we're going to turn the keyboard back on, and that's wrong. We're going to turn the keyboard back on. And test out the keyboard again. The bloody hell. Okay. Here. Now, keyboard's on. Q, oh good, the keyboard works somewhat. Q, W, E, R, T, Y, drum roll. U doesn't work. I doesn't work. O doesn't work. P doesn't work. Left bracket does not work. Right bracket just worked, but then it made everything large. I don't know if that's the word program doing that. So all those 4 in a row don't work. Backslash works, even though that's a bubbled up area over here where it's just sort of wonky. Numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 doesn't work still. Like, I mean, every kid played sort of snakes and ladders and tracing lines and stuff, even from kindergarten. So, I mean, but my eyesight's bad now, so everything I learned in kindergarten is kind of useless to me. If I wanted to try to trace that line from the 8, where are we going? 7, 8. The 8 line, where does it go? Fucking, it's like in a, it's a fucking maze, man. If I had to trace the 8, 9, I'm going to put this membrane back on and see if it makes any freaking difference at all, okay? Tilde, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I need to see this. I haven't memorized the keyboard. So it goes. Fuck. Okay, I pressed an F key. 7, 8 doesn't work. 9 works. 0 does not work. Minus does not work. Plus equals works. Backspace works. Tab works. Q, W, E, R, T, Y. Fuck. U doesn't work anymore. I. We had U back for a second. O doesn't work anymore. P doesn't work anymore. I am going to do what I did before. This doesn't help, okay? It's not necessary. I'm just going to sort of put this on the floor out of my way. I'm going to go back to shuffling this thing around like a little kite. I'm not going to try to trace the lines or anything complicated. I'm just going to shuffle it, okay? We know this sort of works mid-air, don't we? What's this? Why? That's the U right there. That's the 7. Is there something I can spray in there to sort of clean it or make it more conductive, or I don't know. We got a freaking U from me touching the inside of it. I O. I'm just going to go touch it. I'm going to do a bit of a reach around on the O. Shove my finger in there and start rubbing. Yeah, come on, O. Work, you fucking O. Right, O. Do the underside. Do a reach around from this way. Oh, yeah, baby. You like that, don't you? Oh, fuck off. O doesn't work. So I'm not thinking it's the connection between those two circles so much as some sort of connection in here. Which, I mean, I've done the reach around. Now it's time for me to give it a bit of a tug. Come on. O. Come on, fucking work. O. Left bracket, left bracket. Right bracket, left, right. Left bracket, right bracket, left bracket, right bracket. There's no O and P there, isn't there? O and P don't work. L. If I touch the top layer on its own, it doesn't do anything, of course. If I touch the bottom layer on its own, of course it doesn't do anything. The top and bottom layers must touch in order for there to be mating. If the reach around is not enough. Have we got an 8 yet? No, we haven't got an 8. It doesn't. It's not very reactive if you do it inaccurately. It's got to be exact. Press down, right? In this right spot. 7, 8's bitch. It's got numbers here. Okay, look. Zoom in, get a copy of these numbers, because if they can replace those sheets, I think would be good. Potentially there's nothing wrong with the sheets, it's just these connection points in here. Probably costs the same as buying a K830 brand new. How do we zoom in here? Like this. Here is the potential serial or part number. Zoom in on that, take a screenshot. If you think you want to replace these particular parts, they're probably backwards on your screen, I don't care, flip it yourself. This one as well. Are they identical? Are they? They shouldn't be identical, should they? Those circuit designs should be different from one another. Yeah, they are. They're different. Like, they're not mirrors of each other, are they? They're not. They're different. Correct? Am I right? Or am I misled? Well, of course they're different, because look at the top corner of this one with all those lines there, and the top one there is not all those lines there. So it's two different circuits designs. You need to print out both of them. I've just given you the numbers if you want to order the parts. Screenshot that and type it into your computer. Right, that's that one. And I don't know if this says exactly the same thing. I'm not going to read it with my fucking microscope to check what it says, but you can read that. There's more information over here. I don't know if this is part number or if it's just like information in fucking nerd code. At this point, I'm starting to think I might rip these sheets apart from one another. But I don't think that's really going to help, given that I do think the 8 is fully in alignment. What number are we up to? Okay, I don't think we're in Word anymore, Dorothy. I'm gonna just delete that. Start typing here. T Y U is back. We fixed U. No, I's broken now. Okay, I sort of half works. O is back. P is back. Right now, I cannot tell you how I fixed this. Left bracket, right bracket. You can see this whole thing is askew up here. Look at all the mess going on with that. It's not even tucked in properly. And does that mean that something along the line over here is causing all that problem? We're going to do every key on the keyboard. I'm going to just let it go, and I'm going to zoom out so you can see everything. But every time I do that, it takes it away from me. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Will we get an 8? Oh, 8 is fixed. There's nothing wrong with these sheets of plastic. It is definitely going to be happening over here, right? It's definitely going to be all happening in these way that this is plugged in. Please be all fixed, unless I'll shut the lid and leave it askew like that and just fucking keep it. 0, I never had 0. Minus works, equals works, it's backspace works. This one shouldn't work because it's all fucked up. What is that one? Is that backslash? Backspace? Backslash is not working. You can see I've got that all like bunched up. I just want to lose the other keys now that the others work. Can we get backspace back? Okay, backslash works. Backspace, backslash. Okay. What are we up to? QWERTY. Q. Come on, Q. I was like, are we going to lose all the Q, W? W, E, R, T, Y, U, U's back. I, O, P. Oh my god. O and P. Come on. Yes. And 8. Let's go back to check 8. Oh my god. So good. Left bracket. Right bracket. Backslash. Next line. Z. Z. Oh good. X. C. V. B. N. M. I don't know if you're feeling it. I'm feeling it. This is suspense. Suspense for full stop. Forward slash. Come on. Forward slash. Alright, that's good enough for me. That's all the freaking visible buttons. We've still got those volume control protrusions with the rubber there. I'm going to put this little rubber. I think it might be upside down. Nope, I don't know. I think it's that way. Maybe. I don't know. Is it symmetrical or not? It is Logitech though, and they seem to have cut a lot of corners with their designs of and maintenance-friendly applications of things. Is there supposed to be a hole there? Why are there 2 holes on? Maybe that's just to show you that you're supposed to put around the other way. Maybe. One hole there, 2 holes there. Okay, it's that way around. It's the only way you can do it. I am going to. The thing is, this is not solid. This is not a solid repair job, is it? I'll put the membrane back on. Test those buttons again. So hopefully the 8 and the U and the I and the O and P all freaking work. Then I'll put this lid on. I'll reconnect that to that. Hopefully the gesture buttons will work. Let me just put this back in position while we're here because this is always a bit awkward. Fuck. Get that wire in. Get that switch in. So fucking stupid the way they made this keyboard, seriously. Come on. This thing seems like it's gonna tear the power button off the circuit board because somehow the U has been put in upside down. I don't know even how it got in there in the first one. I'm going to turn it off and then try to yank it out without causing damage. Because, I mean, the safest way to have put this in would be the other way around, so it's downward facing. Otherwise, the power button's going to snap off. Here, I think you understand what I'm saying when I talk about the letter U, the way this plastic plugs in there. You see the U shape? On here it's the wrong way. Like somehow I dug it in on an angle which does not feel safe for doing maintenance repairs. And if I break the power switch, that'd be pretty fucking stupid. Maybe I just don't tempt fate and I just try to jam this plastic over the top of it and get all the other switches and plugs and things in position anyway. Now, how have I fixed it? I think the whole solution was to jiggle these connection points. I think. Because I think that was all intact. And how can you ever break that? You can't really. Like, just from typing, you haven't broken it. It's this connection stuff along here somewhere. That's all that really changed when I was waving all that plastic around, right? Now, I'm hoping that it will stay intact throughout the eons. I think eon means billions of years, so yeah, I mean eons. I hope that aliens in the future or our descendants from a billion years in the future will find this keyboard and go, wow, whoever fixed this for the 4th time is a genius. He obviously jiggled it correctly and now this keyboard still works in our modern billion years in the future computers. It's just what we needed to save the universe. This one keyboard. And we have one ape creature from the past, from the ancient past to thank. I feel like it's a bit bowed and stuff there. It is coming out on the other end as well now. Is this upside down, the whole thing? Is it all upside down? I don't know. It's not symmetrical. Well, it is. There's only one way you can go in. Just get in there, you fucker. Alright, that should all line up nicely there. And on this side, this has got to be... Oh, it's not symmetrical here either. But it's the right way around, isn't it? I think it is. It's just so dodgy. I think it's the right way around. I think. That was very wobbly. That one's not as wobbly. Maybe it's the wrong way around. Just going to try it this way. That's better. Okay. I think that's secure on the ribbon cable at that end. Now I'm going to try to plug the ribbon cable. No, I won't. I'll test the keys one last time with the membrane over the top. We've got the cursor on Word ready to go. I click them 1, 2, please, 8 work, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, please. Oh, thank you. 9, 0, minus, plus, backspace. Top left, tab. Isn't that tab? Should be tab, right? Tab, okay, tab works. Q, W, E, R, T, Y, U, I, oh my god, O, P, still working, very happy. Okay, I'm going to go backslash, don't worry about the shift and all that shit, I don't do its tests. Z, X, C, V, B, N, M, comma, dot, / Alright, I'm going to seal this shit up and hopefully it'll just stay intact with the screws and not jiggle around and shit. Let's hope that I've fixed the gesture when I've replugged this in. I cannot deal with trying to give you a proper perspective because the cameras are sort of locked into a cage. But I'll zoom in here and try to just give you the best shot I can of hooking this part of the ribbon back into here, but you're not going to be able to see what's going on. And I don't want to jiggle anything unnecessarily. First of all, though, I'm just going to flip that little black bit back so it's ready. Then I'm going to try to slide it in. I've got very little light down here. Just jiggling and then pressing the black thing closed so it locks. And then I'm just going to not show you what's happening, but rather just put the lid back down. Zoom out a little bit for you. Try to get this in position. We've got the... Okay, and let's hope that pressing it down doesn't fuck it all up. Just clicking downwards. It doesn't feel like anything's actually really clicking. Is there any wire jamming it from closing up here? Maybe. Don't know. Hard to really tell. How sealed is that? That looks pretty sealed on that side. Feels pretty bowed on this side though. Until I squeeze it gently, and it doesn't maybe want to click, but let's just turn it off. And please don't fuck up internally while I'm doing this. I'm going to put the screws... Okay, now it's just dismantling on this side. It's flicking up. It's like... It's not closing. It's jammed, askew. Maybe just squeezing it a bit will help. Maybe it'll just find its own way into the clicky holes or whatever. Some kind of glue, fungus shit here. And that's really bowed. Like you can see, it's like a seesaw. I'm pressing down here and it's not clicking. And on the other side, there's a really massive problem preventing it from clicking shut. It's not clicking shut. Did that do something? I feel like maybe something just clicked into place. And then unclicking out of place and then clicking back into place. I want it to... Okay. One thing we can do is test, turn it back on without screwing it shut, and test whether or not I get the left gesture back. No, left gesture is broken. Left gesture on this... Scrolling fucking works though, so why the fuck is left tap not working? I was hoping it was just the ribbon cable causing that issue. Motherfucker. So let's just double check these keys down here, right? We're gonna go... I keep tapping, expecting that to work. That's not good. That's going to piss me off. That function doesn't work. But scroll does. So what the fuck? Just go to Logi options here again. K830. That one's inactive. Which this one over here is inactive. Okay, or this one here, I should say. If I were to place this back here. Because the only thing that was wrong with this one was the volume controls, right? Oh, fuck. Okay, it's inactive. Now it should become active. Right. So at least we can differentiate between the different K830s in the Logitech options screen. The reason I'm doing this, some key actions not available yet. This device has been set up with your settings from options except for the below features. can I clear my options before? Vertical scrolling, 2 finger, point and click, vertical scrolling, 2 finger swipe up and down. If I click on that, that's switched on, but it doesn't let you test it. I'll test it in here, okay, but the program itself fucking just doesn't let you do it. Tap to click enabled. Just tap to click, right? Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do. Tap, tap, not working. I'm just going to go in here just quickly and turn it off and on again. Tap there. Now I'm going to try and tap over here. Nothing. Left click works though. Left click up here, top left corner. Works as well. Just gesture tap. Right double tap, click. Not working. I don't know how this circuitry could potentially, and we've got all these things working. I don't want to fuck them up just for the fucking left click, but why can't I get the whole thing? Just let me have a smoke for a sec. I'm going to dismantle it. I haven't screwed it shut yet, so this is giving me an opportunity to fix this. Try not to lose those plastic silver bits on the edges. Now, one good thing about this is, even though you can't see it, and I can't expand this open any further without fucking spilling everything open just to show you on camera, which is why filming is a million times harder than just doing, right? I'm going to try to just realign that cable internally in a way that you will not be able to see. And then I'll tap and see if it's fixed, but it won't be, so then I'll potentially sacrifice the ribbon cable from the other one, just in case this ribbon cable is scratched in any way at the terminal points. For a start off, I can just try flipping the direction. This was the other end that was plugged in, but this is a symmetrical ribbon cable, isn't it? Isn't that just symmetrical? I'll pull that open as much as I can so it's nice and easy to get into that spot. I'm trying to jiggle that into position, even though it's got a little bend in it from where it was positioned before on the other side. I think this is the opposite way around, isn't it? With the sticky tape dangling here, that was on that end before, wasn't it? Okay, now I'm going to put the terminals in to here. Easier said than done. I just wish the ribbon cable was just a long zigzag. Why couldn't they just made it triple the length or whatever? In fact, don't even use a ribbon cable. Use just a standard connection point, so it's easy for everybody. This thing is plugged in and turned on, so it's probably not good that I'm doing this while it's turned on. Now I've clicked it shut. Can you see Word? Yes, you can. Okay, now I'm going to try to tap the trackpad and see if it fixed it. No, it didn't. Left click. Still works. Trackpad tap. Does not work. I'm going to yoink out this ribbon cable. Just remember that's the one that's potentially not working. I'm going to take this one from the other keyboard. And swap it. Because if it's a circuit board problem, I would have no idea how to fix it. I feel like that's secure and flush and straight. Now I'm going to plug in this roof. This is the one with a D on it. This goes with this. Doesn't matter which one goes with which, but we're just keeping track that any problems, because I'm considering testing out that other top, because it's got a different trackpad circuit built into it, if this just cable swap doesn't work. If this cable swap does work, it doesn't mean that it's the cable's fault. It might mean that on this extra time that I've spent straightening and lining it, I've done a better job these subsequent times and plugged it in deep enough so that all connections are solid. Now I'm going to turn this keyboard back on. Now I'm going to test. Okay, so the trackpad is moving. As you can see, the mouse pointer moving around the top left, unless you're using a phone, in which case you probably can't see anything that's happening in this entire video. Just evolve. Now I'm going to try to tap. Okay, the tap gesture is not working even with the new replacement ribbon cable, which I assume I need 2 levels of glasses to get that level of visibility. There was a black piece of tape along here earlier when we started, wasn't there? I took that off, but that doesn't make any fucking difference, does it? Are there any obvious problems? D for defective. I don't know who drew that. I don't remember it. Is there anything on here that looks evidently dodgy? You got to remember the scrolling with 2 finger swipes works. Single tap does not work, and right double tap does not work either. So why is that? Given it understands what a tap and moving the mouse pointer around does. Could it be just a matter of turning the computer on and off? I'm going to take this trackpad, right, and we're going to isolate whether or not it's this circuit here or this circuit here, something, right? I'll just put this down back next to the guitar, and then we're going to plug in this one, the one where I thought the volume keys were a problem, but it's just that the rubber is missing there. Okay, because he fucking, and it's too scary to contact him again. We'll just fucking fight. Last time we spoke, he hung up on me, and we haven't spoken on the phone since. Okay, so I've plugged that in, the ribbon cable. Both ribbon cables are equal as far as I can tell. Now, I'm going to move, sorry, this extra pair of glasses still my head in. Alright, I'm going to move the trackpad around. Okay, so that's responding, and now I'm going to try to tap. I'm going to try to tap, 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 nope, tap, not working. Left mouse click. So, what about scroll? Scroll's working, okay, scroll is working, but tap is not working, which means that it's not the fault of the top green circuit board on the upper half where the keys are. It is the fault of the circuit board on the main base of the keyboard. I'm just going to unplug the ribbon cable. Just remember we've swapped both ribbon cables now. It is not the fault of any of the terminal part of this or the trackpad part of this. It could be a software issue, or it could be the connection points here, or it could be a circuit board problem in here. Just remember that the guy who fixed this put fucking glue and shit all over this area, which is part of the circuit board. Let's see. Let's just hope if I turn the computer off and on, maybe later the fucking left and right mouse tap will work, given all of the parts of this do work. While this is open, I'm going to once again clearly show you with a zoom in, so there's no questions about it, how nicely I'm plugging this ribbon cable in here. Okay, ribbon cable. That's a downward face. That's the upward face. Is anything wrong with that cable? could be a problem here in this corner here. Just remember this is the replacement cable, but if problems start occurring every time I plug a cable into here, it could be that there's something wrong with that. Maybe. Don't know. It's too complicated for me to fix. Now this keyboard is plugged in, but I've been doing this multiple times, plugging cables and shit in while it's turned on. That went in deeper than usual, I think, maybe, hopefully. Hopefully that was the problem. It went in quite deep that time. Maybe that will solve it. Maybe. I'm going to plug this into that. Obviously, you're not going to be able to see what's going on. I'll zoom all the way out. You might as well just get an overview, a macro view. You're not going to be able to see what's going on. Okay. Wish I had some light back here. Sorry, it's too hot. By the way, the audio device I'm now listening through is the Zen Airlink, one of my products, the transmitter and receiver. So this is giving me in-ear monitor real time with no lag, whereas Bluetooth would give me lag. We can't use Bluetooth for any music or any audio recordings. You can pick them up from zen.com, zxen.com. Plugging it back in now. Trying to get it nice and lined up. Okay, that went really quite deep, which is good. I feel like that was ribbon cables in a secure position. Let's test out. Alright. Okay, will left tap work? No. The ribbon cable's in as good as it can possibly be. I'm going to try to make this land click on all the right spots here so that it just lands nicely. Hopefully those other keys on the keyboard will continue to work, and for this particular keyboard, if it's not a software issue, that will be resolved from turning the computer off and on again, or we've already tried Logitech options. I don't think any registry key changes I made were relevant to mouse click. I did change one thing in regedit, which was for the RTEC, because the scroll is upside down. It's called flip-flop wheel. If you look up in regedit and you change that from 0 default to a value of 1, which flips the scroll rotation, and I'm pretty sure it was particular to this particular trackpad, and it didn't affect any other mouse or other trackpad keyboards. That delete button's askew. I'm just going to try to jiggle this, or press it into a position where it clicks, though it doesn't really want to click easily. I'll turn this off because I'm going to flip the keyboard and put it face down. That's bowed here, which means it's not clicking into position, which is bad. And every time I do this, I'm thinking I'm fucking up all this stuff inside. If these little tiny screws that hold this whole thing together, that delete button is way off on an angle for some reason. Hopefully it will all flatten out. I don't know if you're seeing how much different the topography is when this is pressed in versus when it's not. God. The people who made the Logitech K830, or just basically the entire team at Logitech, need to be thanked for inventing the K830 and making it at all, then shot in the head. Just start with the CEO, whoever is decided that they're not going to make any more HTPC keyboards. Oh, fuck. This is just springing. It's like extreme force just springing back at me because nothing's clicking into position internally here. It's really being thrust apart by some kind of massive amount of springiness. Could just be I need to put the screws in position, then it'll just click into place potentially. We're going to do the screws now, and hopefully that'll just hold everything down. But there's a lot of popping going on with this whole thing just trying to squeeze apart. It could just be that the keyboard, when it's face down, look at the throw, they'll protrude out like that, and when they're in, they'll do that. So maybe that's the only reason all of this is just being pushed upwards by the keys. Get the screwdriver back. I'm going to seal this up. And the way I'll be able to tell the two K830 keyboards apart is one will have the rubber feet that I'll put back on, whoever the winner is, whoever's got the most working buttons, and the loser will not get rubber feet. I'm really worried when I put these screws back in because I don't want it to eternally rotate, which would mean that the weak plastic shitty fucking chassis has been threaded. Like it should be metal. When you're putting a screw into something, it shouldn't be plastic you're screwing into. If you want it to hold and not break. But I don't think they're bothered with that. I think it's just destructible plastic. I'm squeezing the base together with my hand so the screw isn't protruding out by 1/2 centimeter. I'm sorry I can't give you a nice side shot of all this. I'll try here. I'll try. There you go. Make sure you have a good screwdriver size for these screws because you'll thread them if they're you'll strip them. You'll strip them, not thread them. You will strip the heads of the screws if you do not use the right screwdriver head size. This one seems like it's popping back out because it's not getting enough hold on the internal chassis. Might be good enough there now. Am I missing a fucking switch? No. Oh, that's jammed. That's not in the right spot. Can you see what's going on there? No, of course you fucking can't. You've got to worry about your fucking camera angles all the time. And this is probably the reason it was seesawing all over the place, because this fucking switch thing is not in the right spot in here. So I'm going to open it all up again and fix that. Fuck. Are we having fun yet? After I fix this one, I'm going to try and find rubber and fix those volume controls. So, hope you didn't have any plans for today. Oh, fuck, I hate YouTube viewers. Go and watch some fucking shorts. Yeah, look, somebody's skateboarding backwards. Somebody fucking getting hit by a train. Let's look at this fucking plastic shit. Oh, man. I don't know if I'm undoing all the good that I did from earlier at this point. I can't do camera stuff right now because everything's very finicky, what I'm doing down here with fixing this switch. I don't want to have to pull the whole thing apart again and reattach the freaking ribbon cable and all the other shit, okay? By the way, This switch that I'm messing around with up here is the left click. If that is damaged, or the cable along the way is damaged, would that affect the left tap and right tap? Does the left and right tap work right now, for example? This is upside down for me, so no, tapping doesn't do anything. Left tap, right tap does nothing. Left click does do something. Okay, good. Right, now these buttons are all now not in the right spots, but I'm trying to keep it squeezed together and hope that there are no cables or any other things that are slipping out of the way as I flip this keyboard. Tell me it's turned off. Turned off. It's really... Can you see how much spring there is? It's about that. It's going as I try to close it. I don't know what's causing this jam. Maybe because the way they designed it, you're supposed to click it in at a certain angle. It's really not a user-friendly maintenance-friendly keyboard. Not at all. I still don't even know how, and I'm sort of warping it now, so I could be fucking up all the good work I did. Look at how much it's bouncing back and forth. Is it just those keys from underneath just pressing up? Hopefully that's what it is. Hopefully that's what it is. Is that switch fixed now? Be so careful on the edge here near the carpet, because if I drop one of those screws on the carpet, I think I've, just by doing that, just what I just did then, I think I might have fucking pushed that button back in the wrong spot. Oh no, it's fixed. Okay, just got to keep it squeezed. That's the weakest point there. Make sure none of the other switches and things fall out. In fact, I'd always start with this screw here on this corner where the left mouse click, external left mouse click is located. Okay, let's tie it in. It could be that if I turn the computer off and on again, that those gestures will just suddenly start working. We tried both top circuits. We tried changing the ribbon cable. You can see a bit of plastic here. You see that? If you can't, I can't help you. It just goes to show that every time you do maintenance work on these things, bits of plastic just crack off the keyboard. They just crack off. Catchments that these engineers who designed this keyboard thought, oh, that'd be a nice way to make the keyboard latch to itself. It's so badly thought through, and yet it is the closest thing to a good HTPC keyboard that's ever been made. I think anyone who does any kind of HTPC keyboard and trackpad use would just be able to easily tell them what we want and almost be a spokesperson, unless they've got an IQ that's, you know, a room temperature IQ that the army wouldn't even accept you because you're fucking stupid as fuck. But anyone with any common sense, and I mean logic, not common sense, fuck. You got to understand, I think the way IQs work is that the average is always set to 100 no matter how smart people are in the world. Like, we're not competing with Einstein for IQ points anymore because his generation are all kind of his age group are all dead from old age, because he'd be well over 100 years old. So I'm not saying he can't live to 100, but he'd be probably 150, wouldn't he? I don't remember what year he was born. 1890s. It's now 2023, so that would put him at about 135 years old. Just guessing. So, but he didn't have an IQ test. People have just guessed his IQ, right? Okay, see that one's protruding? I'm going to squeeze it together and force it down. Hopefully the plastic hasn't cracked where it's supposed to screw in. Seems like it's holding. Seems like they're all holding. Just making sure there are no protrudy bits where the screw hasn't been pushed all the way in, and not screwing it so hard that it's wrecking the top of the screw head either. Turning it into a circle instead of a Phillips head plus or cross. Is this fixed? We've got some bounce back on the volume keys. They are squeaky though. Did I misalign the rubber? Is that delete key permanently on a weird angle? This keyboard is turned off. I'm going to turn it on. Please go on, green light. Thank God for that. Alright, clicking left mouse button. Is it bouncing back? Yes it is. Okay, and it's responding in Word. Okay, double click on the left mouse button. Double tap gesture. No, that doesn't work. Right click works. Scroll gesture works. Expand, and shrink. Does not work in that program. I will try to expand and shrink in this program. Nope. Scrolling works. Left tap does not work. Right click button works. Left click button works. Let's go into typing. See how many of these buttons are still working, please God. I was going to smash this fucking keyboard. I can't though. It's just worth $750 when it's fixed and working. And I need it. I hate using this. Just having the mouse button so far apart. But at least this one you can tap. But I often clicking and dragging, and I do video editing, so I need all the buttons working. Now let's go. 1, 2, 3. Oh shit, 3. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0, negative, positive, equals backspace. Good. Tab, Q, W, E, R, T, Y. Cross fingers, U, I, O, oh, thank God, P, left bracket, right bracket, backslash, caps lock, on, perfect. A, S, D, F, G, H, J, K, L, semicolon, enter. B, N, M, comma. I don't know why that makes it a capital word. I think it just now identifies it as a word, and so word. A capital letter. Anyway. / shift, spacebar, all the other shit. Windows button, function button, and backspace. Nice, nice. Brightness. No, it thinks it's F1. I need to reassign the F keys on Logi options for this keyboard, which is now gone like a purple screen of death on Logi options. We stopped working on the software because we stopped making any decent keyboards. It doesn't even give you a proper window thing. It's trying to be a smart fucking Mac-esque type shitty fucking program. Logitech options. Please be Logitech options plus or whatever you need to land in. I don't want to have to fucking... No, I'm not going to that fucking website. I don't want to use the unifying. I want separate receivers. Using okay. Why is it only remembering that I've got two keyboards? I'm going to turn them both on. Okay, so both of these keyboards are now on. And it's still only saying one keyboard. I'm going to do Logi Plus. Is Logi Plus the issue here? Configuring inactive, go. It won't automatically... Okay, I'm going to think it's this one. Okay, left tap. By the way, I haven't tried horizontal scrolling. So vertical scrolling is working. Horizontal scrolling is not working. Let's just try leaving it clicked off and see if the tap now works because it's somehow backwards. No. Left tap does not work. Right tap does not work. Might as well turn it back on just in case I figure it out later. Just for the hell of it. So that doesn't work on this keyboard. Okay, the keys, right? So we talking about F keys back, brightness and stuff. Cool, that's cool. You can assign smart keys. That's very fucking cool. Smart actions. Oh, fuck yeah. I might make screen capture one of them. But I want the whole screen to just be captured and make its own file name as well, not all the other shit. Trigger press, action, mute mic. Not that, don't care about that. I think they're upselling other shit. Templates, fixed time, no. Of course I don't want it to change, it has to be the same every time, you dumb fucks. Alright. That's just stupid, you're all set. You can now explore our smart action symbols that you'll create. Do I have to restart or not? I don't know. Okay. Okay. If K830 back is pressed, is that this one? The back button? Yep, back. Okay. Confirm. And then if then add action. All right, let's go screen add action. Cool, I can add actions. Or no, keystroke. Your keystrokes will be displayed here. Press start recording to begin. Record with fixed delay. I don't know. Right, start recording. Okay. Function back, print screen, then enter. I think that's stop recording. Let's try it. Try it. Okay, let's look. Screen capture and then enter. Oh, you have to select the area. Fucker. Alright. Because if I do function backspace, I have to fucking drag a marquee around the entire thing to make it work. Why can't it just do a full screen? What is this program called anyway? It's called Snip. It's this one, isn't it? Get out of here for a second. Press the print screen on your keyboard, which is basically function and that. To take a screenshot. No, okay, oh no, just options. General, automatically copy a link after uploading. Show notifications about copying. Keep the selected area position. Capture a cursor on the screenshot. Hotkeys. Oh, you can do it in this program too. Instant save of the full screen. That's already set. Oh no, that's with this one. General hotkey. Instant save is shift and print screen. Good, good, good. Okay, I'll make that the hotkey for the other thing then. Right? We're going to change this. Get rid of that. Let's try start recording. Shift function print screen. Did it understand the function part of that? Well, it did because it wrote print screen. Confirm. And now let's try it. 3, 2, 1. Smart actions have executed. I don't really want to show you my fucking folder system. Well, that seems to do it. That seemed to have done it. And I've got these two side by side. It's going to be tiny for you, but I can see it fucking worked. So the back thing there is now screen capture. And I can assign... Oh, it hasn't been saved. That's silly. Okay, I'm going to call screenshot. Wait, C didn't work when I typed that. Come on, C, fucker. Uh-oh. Oh, C. C's a bit dodgy. Don't need a description. Screenshot. Alright. I might think of some more in the future. Is left click up here working? Yep, it does work. Just that doesn't work. Okay, I think that's as repaired as it can be until we could potentially check for update. Have the latest. Wait, is there firmware update? Sorry, I think that was software update. Settings. Okay, firmware. Of the latest version of firmware, it says. Receiver firmware. It's saying here use F1, F2, etc. keys as standard function keys. I don't think I want that, do I? Because then I can't turn the... Well, I mean, I can't. Maybe I do want it on. Is it going to be an F1 and F2 and everything? Anyway, I'm very fucking tired now. Alright, I'm going to go into this other keyboard and we'll just turn this one off and put it away. Maybe charge it over here. All we need to do for this one, hopefully, unless I fuck something up, is to put rubber. Okay. Let's take this thing here and plug it in so we never have to worry about the naughtiness of the fucking power socket becoming unsoldered again. Janto. Charge. Thank you. Very nice. Okay, so all I've got to do is put rubber there. The guy's obviously just fucking dumped my rubber seal that was supposed to be on this one's on his desk somewhere at home. We saw that using these feet from the underside of the keyboard kind of worked to just give those things a spring and keep those these keys up, these volume controls up, and they need to be up because when they're down all the time, jamming them is just awful. I'll put the ribbon cable back in position first of all, so I don't forget where it is. I'm just thinking while I'm sitting here what rubber I've got. Haven't got any, might have condoms. Rubber gloves. I could chop some of those to pieces maybe. Okay, I've got rubber gloves and finger cots and scissors. And might need glue. No, I don't want glue. I don't want a permanent problem here. But I do want it to sit and stay seated where it's supposed to be and not be permanently pressing down with too much pressure. Let's start with these finger cots. Extra small condoms. can these be good? Or are they too big around the edges there? I think once it's unrolled, how much protrusion do we need here? I'm just going to get out of that program, go back into Word, using the Logitech keyboard over there. Now, let's talk about this. Is just doing that good enough? Can I just leave that lying across there like that and maybe just chop off this extra bit of protrusion here? In the other keyboard, it was underneath, right? I mean, I really don't want to risk lifting this up, this circuit board, and chucking it underneath. But then it would be secure. And we could see if he dropped the other bit underneath here. Fuck it, it's just that one screw, right? But then this might all get disconnected. I really don't want to risk that being jiggled. Motherfucker. I really don't want to risk it. I'd rather lay it over the top. Lesser of two evils. Is that going to get in the way of lots of stuff? Let's see what's happening under here. There's a screw hole there. Zoom in for you here. Is that going to cause some bounce back because it's a bit rubbery or not? What's this thing? What does that line up with? Is that anything? Does it matter? Or I just jam that there? And what's this? Who knows? Chuck that there. Maybe it'll just be enough. I don't want to block this at all. See if it keep it as simple as possible. This is equivalent to pretty much chopping a finger off a rubber glove. Let's put this keyboard back together with that there. I don't know why they didn't make this symmetrical. Seems about the right direction. Where's the switch for that? Okay, over here. Sorry, you need to expand outwards. We get around that fucking switch that's been placed upside down. Oh no, it's not. It's the right way around. Okay, good. Seems right. Seems right. This side. Now. Seems right. Stay. This is going to be plugged back into there. It's open. And hopefully that rubber will be enough to keep these volume controls bouncing back up sufficiently. Hopefully. Okay, so we're going to plug this in to here. Click it shut. Hopefully that rubber finger is going to make it all bounce back nicely. We're about to test that. We don't need to screw it shut before we test that. We do need to click it into position. Just feel the plastic snapping as we do this. Okay, that seems to have landed in a pretty good spot. This bit's sort of undulating. It's okay, now it's seesawing around. Is it snapped in position? I think it might be. Let's turn the volume. Want to make sure the volume controls don't get held down. Okay, so we've got the left tap working on this particular keyboard. Double tap for right works with that gesture. Zooming, pinch to zoom works on this keyboard as well as a mouse. Sorry, as well as a Windows trackpad can be expected to zoom in and out. Scrolling works. Left tap, right tap, left click, click and drag, right click, upper left click, works as well. Okay, now we're going to do volume mute. Let's make sure it goes away. Good, because it bounced back and it didn't stay stuck. Volume down. Definitely much better than it was. Volume up. I think it's given me just enough rubber to give me a nice amount of bounce back. If I feel these ones, they feel a bit awful as well because of the rubber. I don't know if you can hear it, but I can hear it. Whereas this new one I've put is quieter. But it's a bit too much depth. I've got to press and it doesn't pop back up nicely enough. Although you can see the volume control, if I give you a white background, is working. And I am squeezing it in the corner, so it's not like adding screws would change it. I'm going to double the rubber. If I can click this top off and separate it again. Hopefully I won't have to... Oh, fuck, it's so awkward. I'm going to turn it off before I do it. God, please don't all fucking break again. What a stupid fucking moron who approved this keyboard's design. Like, you know, people are going to have to get in there and clean the keys occasionally, right? Or and make sure that it's not fucking broken. To give you visibility, I'd have to fuck up everything. So I'm just going to use this little screwdriver as maybe a makeshift stand to hold it up open. Then expand this finger cot. So at a second level of rubberiness. Doesn't want to come off. So now I've just laid two finger cots on top of one another. Hopefully it won't interfere with switches and buttons and all the other shit. Catch fire in there or whatever. It's now sprung up quite a lot. I'll just try to bring that forward so you get some view. There you go, that's the best I can do for you. And then I'm going to close this lid. Hopefully those switches on the top, which always keep falling out of position, remain in position. And hopefully it'll click into position nicely this time without any problems in all locations, without blocking screw holes and stuff with those fucking finger cuts. But it's not closing in that top. What is that now? Okay, did that fall in? Is it staying there? Good. Oh, fuck. It's really bouncing back, but we should anticipate some bounce back there. These buttons here feel like they're not protruding anymore. They're too down. And it could be because of what I've done here, or it could be because this bottom part hasn't clicked in nicely. Don't want to lose the left and right mouse click. That's for damn sure. Could be that this whole thing's now on an angle because of the raised area over here. Maybe. While squeezing, I'm going to volume up. Sorry, is this turned on? No. Okay, it's turned on now. Ready? I'm going to move the mouse into position, double click. So I need that squeezed. I can't live with those mouse buttons being so flattened though. They need to... They're not raised in any way, they're lowered. Is that because the rubber's fallen out of the way when I did that repair job just then? Let's just quickly test the mute. There's too much resistance. That one's not going in. That's not even working anymore. And that's not working anymore either. What if I squeeze that corner bit? Yeah, squeezing the corner is where the screw will hold it. It's working quite well there now. This keyboard is highly dependent on being squeezed so that the chassis is in the right position at all times. And with this like this, it's not beautiful, but neither is the other original. Turn it on. The original rubber's no good either. So it was never any good really. The springiness from those two finger cots piled on top of each other internally, it's not beautiful. Like, there's not a lot of spring there. If I were to try to build a zone where there was a specific piece of rubber exactly in position, that seems like it might be a bit too hard compared to doing what I did, but what I did was stupidly easy. So even if I had like cloth in there, right, just a strip of cloth or even freaking tissue, it might even work better than what I've got now. But rubber's more inclined to grip internally and stay where it is. These two buttons here don't seem to be nice to click anymore. And I want my mouse keys to be nice to click. And I think I can blame the finger cot for fucking it up there, maybe. But maybe not. Maybe it's... I'm gonna fucking have a look. Alright. Before I put all the screws back together, because I'm going to stop working on these keyboards this moment I've done this. Oh, fuck, it's all so awkward. Come on. I'm going to give you proper visibility now, okay? There you go. Full visibility. Is this upside down? Is it possible to be the wrong way around? If we look at how much this protrudes, it's basically zero. It's really flat. It's like a... It's super flat. There's hardly any protrusion. Completely unlike this one, which has massive protrusion. Is that the right position? Yes, perfect. First time. Lucky. Okay. These are potentially raising up this area so it's not giving a nice big bounce back, but it looks like they probably wouldn't naturally want to have a big amount of bounce back anyway. These are all in the right spots. Okay, what do I think of this? Do I want more bounce back? What if I put a finger in a finger? Is that neater? Is that going to give me a better... Use this one. Sorry, environment. No, I should try to... Just at least try to stick it in there while it's already open. Okay, now try to put this one over the top while it's already open. What if I invert it? Tip to tip. Go through. I need to go all the way down, past the knuckle to give me the length I need. I'm going to try to roll that one down all the way. Fuck. Hopefully I can get all this off, and doesn't matter, it's inverted. Okay. This worm thing happening here now. Try not to go over the edge of the battery, but I don't think it can be helped. I'll put the lid back over it, plug the trackpad back in. Put this in here first. Just be easy, thank you. Okay, come in here. I know I shouldn't be plugging things in and out on the circuit board while the computer's turned on, while the keyboard's turned on. I've just turned it off. Anyway. Okay, I think I've got it as deep as it can go. Click. No, it's not really wanting to click down properly, is it? They're really deep now. This is really raised on the other side. Fuck, okay, I'm having interference problems with the in-ear monitors on the right ear. Could be the headphones. Could be battery life in some of these microphones, I don't know. As you can see, that's now showing red and that's showing green, which means this thing's upside down. It should never have been designed that way, I suppose. This is what's happening. This is a skew, right? Is the rubber causing that to happen? Maybe, but it can be squeezed. And look, there's one notch there that's really not wanting to click. It could be snapped. The plastic could be snapped there, maybe. Sometimes I feel like I'm going to have to break off bits of plastic to make this thing close. I think that it just snapped off by itself anyway. Alright. Let's just test. Wait a second. That's just moving freely. That's not good. That is not good. That is very loose. Tell me the bit of plastic that just snapped off is not the power. Oh my god, it could be. It could be. Just tell me it's not aligned and it's not snapped off, because that always seemed like a little fragile little piece of shit switch down there. Show me, show me, show me. Tell me the damage is not bad, please. Okay. We're seeing a green light? Yes, thank fuck. Alright, it just wasn't down far enough. This is not a great idea. Let's see if without that the left and right mouse buttons do stick up. This is how much they can stick up anyway. So I'm pushing them up as far as they go. That is the maximum height they can ever get to anyway. So I must be dreaming, thinking that they used to stick out further. They didn't. That's the maximum they've ever stuck out. Now, in terms of having these buttons with no rubber between them, is just, it doesn't work. Sorry, I just don't want to have to pull this fucking lead out again. One solution could be to put rubber on the tips of all of these three things, you know, in a way that just accurately pokes things. I do have eraser heads that I could potentially glue on, but I take these things out to clean them, right? I pop these things out completely out the front. Like this, right? And I can put them back in. You seeing this? I feel like I'm wasting my time because I'm not going to get enough viewers and you're not going to appreciate what I've done here. A bit of plastic in here, just bouncing around because it snapped off. Let me just try to neaten this up a little bit. I could try to cut off bits and pieces and glue them and stick them, or try to jam them in those bits there, maybe. But it would just bounce around and move over time. This thing feels like the whole thing would be jammed in position, which is what I want. So I'm going to continue doing this. because I feel that the downward pressure of this whole area would prevent this all from moving around, and it would just stay and give some level of springiness at all. And I'm too tired to invent a new rubber solution for that, because it's much better than nothing. Okay, fucking difficulties of putting this thing back in again. This fucking ribbon cable. It's a stupid fucking thing, man. They could have made that a million times easier, but they didn't care about maintenance. How are the switches going on the back? Are they all going to fall out again like last time? Just going to push it down, click, click. Wow, that really clicked well. It's got something, no, that one's got no spring back. Would it spring back more if I squeeze that shut? Turning it on. Green light, come on, what's the green light? What the fuck? Alright, there we go. We're not sealing that nicely yet, but let's see. Volume up, volume middle, no, volume down. This is much worse than before. I had it fairly good before I tried to make improvements. Like the mute button's not working at all anymore. Okay, fuck off. Get off me. You're pissing me off now. Obviously this rubber glove thing is not perfect. One thing I could do potentially to even it out across the board, to cut off the big bits here so it's evenly flat. And I don't want to add glue to any of the keyboard, okay? I've learned my lesson about glue in the keyboard. I just want to have it fully maintainable at all times. The other thing is, if I did unscrew this and try to lift it off and put this underneath, then those connections could fuck up again, and I do not want that to ever happen. Are we going the full expanse of every button, all the 3 buttons there? I think we are. The mute button might have more chunk than the rest, don't know. Power on, power off, power on. Volume up, feels pretty good. Volume down, feels pretty good. Mute, feels good. I mean, it's not ideal, but it's got some spring back compared to before. These ones on the other keyboard stick out a bit further, but they feel bad and they make noise actually. My one is quiet. Mine is better. Just so long as it doesn't get stuck down, it can always bounce back because it's got enough rubber to push back up and not keep it squeezed accidentally because there's too much rubber in between. At the moment I feel like that is a very good compromise. Now I'm going to turn it off, flip the keyboard keys down and screw it back together. I think this one will be the one that deserves the rubber feet because that one doesn't have a tap to click. I'm going to run this magnet around inside this box on my left to try to pick up all these screws. Don't know how many I missed. And the rubber feet will be standing by with a dog hair or my mum's hair or something. Okay, one there, one there, one there. And one there. You might think, what the fuck did you take all my precious time up showing me all this shit for? And if you've watched all the reviews I've been making for all the keyboards that I've had to replace the K830s with, you would understand. There is nothing on the market like the K830. I had to fix them. Even if I'm compromising things like the fucking buttons. The tap to click doesn't work on one of them. That's minuscule problem to have compared to all the other problems. And it's almost like it's even without the ability to tap to click, it's still got better functionality than all the other keyboards I've tried. Be careful with how much you dig those screws in. I should do a keyboard test, but I'm too scared. I really hope I haven't fucked up the keystrokes, given how fragile that entire shit is inside. That guy who I hired, he kept on insisting I needed to give him more money to buy silver nitrate pens and shit to fucking redraw the circuit board lines and stuff along those plastic sheets inside. This screw's rotating freely. It's not holding itself down. The internal plastic must have snapped off inside or been worn away from too much rotation or too much pressure. And he stripped the heads because he did not use the right screwdriver size. I gave him my this screwdriver, which actually fits the screws, but he didn't give a shit. So he fucked up the heads of the screws, and it looks like he's made some of the screws just rotate freely because he fucking over-tightened them. And Airtasker took his side, basically. I probably could pursue it, but he took my keyboard away for weeks. He said he was replacing it with a brand new one, and he just gave my old one back to me with the repairs you saw today. So everything kind of worked except for the volume control buttons, because he fucking just haphazardly lost the rubber, which would have solved that, me having to fucking build rubber springs out of finger cots, for fuck's sake. So I have all the screws still for this. There's one screw missing, and I'm hoping it's in that box over there. I don't want to be missing any screws. This is the sort of keyboard where if you're missing a screw, it'll spring up and the keys won't work, and then it'll all fuck up again. And let's hope all the buttons are in position as well. That's clicking. The power switch seems to be in the right spot. One last screw, please be in here. Thank God. Okay, I got all screws. That's a miracle. That's 16 screws. I didn't lose a single screw today. Amazing. That would have really pissed me off, but it would have been expected as well. And it didn't happen. That's fucking amazing. Alright, we'll put this here. We'll now know that this is the keyboard with the working click, the one that the dude worked on. The one, yeah, right. Don't know how well they'll hold, but they'll be in my house somewhere, and I can always find a way to stick them back on. This one's just rotating freely, so it can't go any deeper. Let's test this out in Word. Power on works. I'm going to use this trackpad for everything. I'm going to highlight all that. I'm going to press backspace. Now I'm going to start. No, I need big open area for you, don't I? Because you don't have good visibility. Okay. I'm going to go back up a bit using the arrows. Okay. Right click. Escape. Let's start with escape. Good, that closed. Left click. Left tap. Yep. Right tap. Right click, left click, right click, scroll. Wait, is scroll backwards? I feel like scroll is backwards. No, I don't know. It's so zoomed in. Scroll is not nice in Word. I think it's around the right way. I scroll down, I go down the page. Okay. 1 second. Brightness, or is that function? Okay, it's a function. Alright, now I better assign what this button does. Now, see, okay, it's only with that keyboard that the Logi options thing works. Should I assign this keyboard That one should be, I'll turn it off so it's inactive and I can tell. This one's on, so that should be active, and this one should be, it doesn't fucking do it. It doesn't let you see everything at a glance. You can't zoom out or anything. I'll make this one inactive as well, okay? And I'll go across. Okay, you can use the arrows, not the clicking, because clicking selects it. Right, now I'm going to smart action that, and it knows that already, so is that selected? Okay, now I'm going to press it, but it didn't do it. Unless it did, but it doesn't tell me it did. I needed to fucking confirm. It's not doing it. Surely it's not. I'm going to click that. Click that. Do I need to turn smart on? Smart switches on? Smart actions. It's not doing it. Can I do that? View smart options. Try it. 3, 2, 1. Please show me that you're doing it. And yeah, okay. 1134. Okay, that did it. Save. Now let's just see if the button actually fucking works on its own. I need confirmation. No, it didn't work. Doesn't fucking do it. Do I have to press function and then that? No, nothing works. Oh, it did work there. Was that because I pressed the function button and then did it? Yes, because the F keys have been switched on by default. So I go to Logitech options and I will go to use F1 keys as standard function keys. No. Now I'll try to press it. Now I'll do it again because it doesn't show me anything on the screen. Okay, it works whenever I press that. Backlighting on this keyboard here. Oh yeah, I'm taking a screenshot. Okay, that's not brightness down, brightness up. That's brightness level toggle, which is 0, 1, 2, and then that one is take a screenshot. I don't know if that should be the screenshot button, because I can always do that, but then I've got to drag a marquee, but I could have always done shift that. Do I want these buttons to be active? They're fucking media buttons, and that would just play things, wouldn't it? I don't want that to be happening. It's a bit probably safer. And then delete becomes Bluetooth connection, doesn't it? And that'll probably disconnect the keyboard. No, I've got to put the function buttons back to normal, which means I've got to reassign. Oh man, okay, let's go back, keys. Let's reassign this for a second. Keystroke, view smart actions. Like function is not on that list, but it already says print screen, so it knows that the computer does print screen internally. It doesn't need the keys here, does it, to be pressed. It just knows that shift plus print screen equals take a thing. But that program doesn't give me a confirmation. No, fuck off. I go in here, options. This is the only really, like in Macs, you can, take a screenshot easily. It gives you quick confirmation. You can record the screen easily. You don't need OBS for that shit. Let's just quickly check here what's going on. What about giving a confirmation option? I don't think it's going to let me do a screenshot, save. Like this program, it doesn't have any confirmation screen when you do a screenshot. There's nothing that tells you if it worked or not. You could be taking screenshots all day long and you're accidentally doing it, or you're not doing it, or you think it's doing it, and then you're not saving shit. Like I'd have to have this folder open to see when I'm taking a fucking screenshot, to see that it's just like doing it. Otherwise there's no way to know it's happening. Anyway, it's going outside the scope of this video. Going back in here, we're going to do all the tests, all right? Apart from F1, F2. Good. They're back to normal F keys now. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0, minus, plus, backspace, caps lock, good. A, S, D, F, G, H, J, K, L, semicolon, apostrophe, enter. Z, X, C, V, B, N, M, comma, full stop, slash, up arrow, down arrow, left, 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 right, right, right. Control C. Oh, I've just got to highlight something here. Control C. Over here. Control V. Control works. Windows button. Function works. Yep. Okay. Volume up. It's pretty good. It's better than it was, that's for sure. It's got some bounce back because of the rubber. It's not being held down longer than I expect. It's going up 2 steps at a time. It works. Alright, that keyboard is good now. Good enough. And after all this time, I have 2 working K830s with the only problem that this one's tap gesture, tap to click doesn't work, or right, tap to click doesn't work, but mysteriously scroll gesture works, and zoom somewhat freaking works. So I don't know why tap doesn't work. I should just double check the firmware on Logi options for that second keyboard. Let's get out of this thing. Let's go back to the secondary keyboard, which I think that's what it is here. Point and click. Tap to click enabled. We've already turned that off and on. Could be something in, it says it's inactive though. I'm turning this one off. Is power switch still working properly? It's got some recoil to it or something. Probably because of the rubbery. I don't know if it still works. Okay, it works. This one is off. Now it's on, and it's saying inactive in the bottom left hand corner here. Why is it saying that? Okay, now it's inactive, and this one is now showing that. Charging. Good. Okay, settings. We'll check for update. Alright, I'm going to try to tap on things with this. No, not going to work. Click in there. I'm going to left click with this upper left button here. That works. Alright, I'll do the fucking support page. Left tap not working. Left tap. Oh, this one's not turned on. Tap not working. Tap to click gesture is not working on the Logitech wireless touchpad. Are you seeing this? I'll just make it full screen for you because we've fixed the keyboards. This is just extra now. The tap to click gesture can be selected or cleared with set point software. This is not the same software. We're not talking specifically about my keyboard, but if the tap to click option has been cleared in set point, it will remain disabled in hardware. So if you clear the tap to click checkbox, I'm just going to see if I've got something called set point in this in Windows. Select tap to click with set point software to make gesture work again. Well, give me the set point software. Downloads set point. Set point, Windows 10. Good, give it to me. Is it going to override my removal of unifying software support bug fixes? Okay, let's go try that. Give it to me, give it to me, give it to me, give it to me. Doodly-dee. Okay, let's do it. Next. Help Logitech. Sorry, I don't want you fucking coming in and looking at my shit. Well, this looks like it's going to take a while. Now I've got to fucking edit this thing, don't I, to make you not bored. But it's so boring anyway. Might as well make this video really long. It's 3.5, well, nearly 4 hours. Let's hope this recording doesn't fail in OBS. I think I've selected MKV, so if there is a break in the recording, it'll hopefully say where it's up to. Something's installing. The Logitech smooth scrolling extension is required to enable smooth scrolling and scrolling Chrome. Oh, I don't want to do that right now because I've already got the other one installed. Don't want it to clash. I clicked finish. Now I'm going to click set point in Windows. Okay. Now, reduce this back up. So I'll bring it up on the screen properly for you first. You can hear the computer churning. This is a big program or something. I don't know why it's fucking taking so long. Oh, there we go. Okay. This is not. Not instantly. Just finding my devices. Open software. No, I'd remove unifying. No. I hope this doesn't clash with my other software. It's not giving me. So the instructions above were didn't I have tap to click not working? I don't know if they consider this to be the Logitech wireless touchpad because it does not look like a keyboard. My mouse, my keyboard, etc. It's like set point. I'm just going to Google it. How to fix Logitech K830 tap to click. To fix tap to click on the Logitech K830, try holding the FN key and pressing the left click button. This toggles the tap to click function on and off. Really? Does it? Function and the left click button. Does it really? I'm going to just shrink this down and show you what I'm doing here. did not fucking know that. So we're going to go back into Word and just sort of trust that person's advice here. I'm going to just tap to click on this keyboard. It works on this one. Is this the one where it's broken? Yeah, it's on this one that's broken. Okay, so I'm going to press function and left mouse click. So left click works, right? I'm going to press function and left click. And now I'm going to tap. Oh, it totally fixed it. Right, double click. It's not broken. Guys, just to be clear, these instructions are correct. In here, to fix, tap to click on the Logitech K830, try holding the FN key and pressing the left click button. This toggles the tap to click function on and off according to the manual. And it's true, it is actually correct. Both of these keyboards are now fully fixed for now until they break again. Obviously I had to sacrifice a couple of little condoms here, but they're all fucking working. And I will gladly stop using this thing, which doesn't even wake up when you use that. You gotta press this to make it glow and shit. Let's just test the backlighting on both these keyboards and make sure that's all working nicely. I'm going to turn off that overhead light as well. I'm just going to move the trackpad on this one, that glows nicely. I'm going to move the trackpad on this one, that glows nicely. Okay, I consider these both perfectly working. The charging, if I unplug the magnetic cable, fully charges and works. And on this one, fully charging and working. Got two fully working, successfully working, and I cannot believe my skill. I'm a fucking hero. Here's a close-up of my face so you know who the genius is behind all this amazing work that's just occurred today. And it only took me about 4 hours, so there you go. Genius.